Welcome to Serial Podcast 9.
Okay,
let's
start it.
I got a question actually. Right here. I'm going first.
Hey.
No, we have to start. Say the beginning.
Man, we've been talking for so goddamn long. I thought we started an hour ago.
Oh, nope. We're catching up, Kevin. Catch ups with Kevin. Go.
I'm Gerard Peralta.
And I'm Kevin Peterson.
And I'm Ryan Benoit. And this is Serial Podcast 9. It's an episode. I meant to look it up, and I didn't. But there's a number affixed to it. And you'll see it or you won't.
I think it's 58, but let's go.
All right. Is it? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Hey, Kevin, I heard you have a question.
I do have a question. It is from my username is really easy to read. They want to know.
Is that his username?
Dear Ryan. Yeah, that's their username. It's underscores instead of spaces.
That is a sick username. Anyways, go.
It's perfect for Ryan.
Yeah, it is.
They say, Dear Ryan, I know you've been driving the Prius a lot lately. How do you find that differs from driving the 4Runner or not driving the Aristo? Sincerely, yours.
Man, let me tell you, driving a Prius is a whole other thing.
Yeah,
it's great
cares.
On gas. No, but people automatically assume they're like in charge of you or you're soft and they're better than you. It's like that is. I've got old ladies lipping me off on the street, like trying to get me to get into car accidents. Some lady was like commenting on me parallel parking while she was smoking a joint in her Mercedes. And I'm like, yeah, she's like, oh, I was watching you parallel park. Oh, what a time I've had. And she's like, I'm just sitting here smoking a joint. And it was like on my block. And like, I was like, man, nobody says shit to you when you're in a 4Runner. Like, nobody, like, I've had people like honk their horn at me and I've slowed down and like stared at them and they were like eyes forward. People don't fuck with the 4Runner.
They don't want no smoke.
And then people with the Aristo, it confuses the shit out of them. But I also might be a drug dealer, so they don't want to like do shit. Like, that guy's
an Aristo.
Yeah, if that guy's dumb enough to drive a car that low, he's dumb enough to do something else. Yeah. But a Prius to everyone is just fucking carte blanche to lip you off for no reason.
It's like a cuckmobile, you know?
Yeah, and it's kind of like that guy.
That guy's already neutered. Like,
yeah. Oh,
you say neutered?
Like,
yeah.
I can't fathom why, like some lady was getting mad at me. And I'm like, man, you don't know who I am. I wouldn't do this, but like I did get out of the car and I was like, I'm going to go shout at this old lady real quick, teach her a lesson. Like,
I think you should have.
Yeah, I went and looked for her a little bit because I was like, hey, you shouldn't lip people off because they could get out of their car and you don't fucking know them and you're an old white lady. You just fucking get in your lane,
Meanwhile,
what did this old white lady say to you?
No, she was just like, she's
park.
A pedestrian, and I was letting her cross the street, and it was Kevin, turning onto 19th from Maine. You do the left-hand turn.
Yeah.
And she was on Maine crossing over 19th, and she was a pedestrian, so I let her go. And she was just flagging me on, like, no, you go, like traffic is stopped. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like getting mad. And then eventually I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go. And then I almost get smoked by a car. And then she looks at me like I'm a dummy. And then I'm like, what the fuck? And, she like walks across the street and she's all like, oh, I can't believe you. It's like, fuck you. You fucking did this.
Yeah, don't be polite. Just be predictable,
Yeah.
Follow the rules of the road that everyone thinks you're going to do.
Yeah, it's like, you're a pedestrian. Cross the fucking street. You're a pedestrian. Anyway, and I almost went and had a conversation with her to be like, hey, look, you shouldn't do that.
How about you, Kevin? How do people react to you driving certain cars?
I feel like it's been a while since I've driven a different type of car.
Okay,
but,
so you drive the 18 mostly?
I drive the 18 and the 17 mostly, yeah.
Okay. And so how does that work for you?
I don't know. It feels fine. It feels like the 17 gets a bunch more looks because it has the welded and that's kind of chirping and has the clutch. So that's ringing. And It's got the blow off valve, and I kind of drive it harder than I drive the 18. So I feel like, but yeah, I don't know. I always feel like when you have a modified car that's kind of crazy, people give you a bit of a berth, give you a bit of a wide space, like.
Oh yeah.
And then also when you have a modified car, you can like do moves other people can't, where you can like accelerate really quickly and take a spot, or like brake really hard and take a spot, or like your car, like the boundaries of it. So like it feels like when you have a crazy car, people just don't really fuck with you.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, like also I don't know, having like the echo, when you like get out of the echo, no one is giving you any respect,
Yeah. It's an interesting thing about how you're treated by the type of cars that people drive.
I like to play a fun game when you see a car that's kind of cool outside, like, I don't know, whether it be like a Porsche or like a modified car or anything, and you go inside and you're like, who owns what car?
Yeah.
That is a fun game.
Yeah, we tried that the other day when Dominic and I were at the dim sum, and there's that purple Lamborghini, like Huracan Performante, like the crazy one with all the the forged carbon stuff. Parks at the Chinese restaurant all the time. And so we're having lunch, and I'm like, who do you think owns that car? And we're looking around, and there's all these people. And it was actually funny because it turned out nobody in that restaurant owned it. Is actually probably the owner of Sea Market.
Oh,
the Korean place owns it.
Right.
So yeah, it was.
Oh man, I had another instance where I was at going to a music festival in West Vancouver, and I was waiting for a lady to leave her parking spot, and she was taking a long time. And a line of cars was forming behind me, but they could clearly drive around. And then like some old dude, I don't know, old people just feel like they can say whatever they want to a guy in a Prius. And he like rolled up next to me and he's like, "You're blocking traffic." I'm like, "It looks like you're able to go around." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "You go around. That's what you do. You just drive around in this situation." And he was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "And now you're blocking traffic." And he's like, oh, well, fuck you. And like June's in the car and she's like, "Why'd that guy swear?" And I'm like, "I don't know." But I stopped him. I'm like, "Hey, you want to have a conversation about this right now? Or do you want to keep blocking traffic?" And he's like, "Oh," and he like drove away all mad. And I was like, "Oh yeah, you just thought I was going to apologize to you because I'm in a Prius."
Laid down some logic on him and he got flustered.
Yeah.
Man,
he's like, "Oh,
yesterday I was driving home.
Fuck white people." Go on.
Yesterday I was driving home in the 100, and I took the stupid Surrey lane. Like, I don't normally take the Surrey lane because there's you can go two ways on the bridge or whatever, but they both go to the same way. Anyways, I take the Surrey lane, and there's like this 4x4, like there's two 4x4s. It's jacked up, ridiculous. Like one's a Dodge Ram and one's like a Ford F350 or 250 or something. Both jacked up, both sticking out wheels, both obviously stupid. So this fucking Dodge Ram is like trying to pass this other truck. And then of course, like, this guy's dick's too small and this guy's dick's bigger, whatever. And now at this point, they're like swerving all over the fucking highway because they can't get past each other. And now, somebody's pissed off someone. So now they brake. Like, I literally almost like rear end this guy because, obviously douchebag 1, brake check douchebag 2 on the highway, and I'm behind douchebag 2, and now they're trying to stop traffic. And anyways, it was ridiculous. But it was weird because I watched the whole thing play out, and then sure enough, like after, like 1 minute of this like dick measuring fest, they just sort of like dropped it and were just like driving beside each other for some time. And it was just so funny because it was like, man, like these guys are so immature. It's just so stupid to watch from like the outside. But yeah, anyways, driving the 100, because it's quiet, but it's like kind of low and only some people notice it. They sort of like whatever. But like, man, when I drive the Blit, like, yeah, it's loud. I drive it super aggressive and like it's low and like kind of very, what's the word, foreign or like confusing. People fully just like at lights, they like don't want to look at me and stuff. And like,
eyes forward.
I think it's fucking hilarious, honestly.
Yeah.
What about in your like giant luxury SUV?
I mean, in that thing too, it's like people are kind of like, they fully just think I'm like a super douche. Like,
I mean, no offense, you did drive that thing like a super douche.
Yeah, I mean, I am totally like pushed in with any truck with big wheels or like jacked up truck. Like I'm just one of those guys with that truck. Nobody really cares that it's a QX. I think only some people are like, oh, it's an Infinity and it has like big tires. Like it gets some look sometimes, but like most people just think you're like an a-hole.
Right.
So
Look like a brodozer though. You know, you're definitely not like, hey, there's like a Dodge Ram with tow mirrors. You know.
Yeah.
It's not like a 4-inch lift with like 37 sticking out 8 inches or something.
Yeah, exactly. 37 by fucking 12 and a half.
I will say
14s, yeah.
I had an instance. I was driving home from Kelowna this weekend, and I was in Coquihalla, and there was like a Mustang Cobra that like just couldn't wait to get it. You know, like they're doing construction on the Coke, and you know he's like ripping into construction. He's like when he gets out, he's out of there. He's going fat, like he's getting it, like full on. Like I'm like that's not a good idea right now. It's a construction zone.
Exactly. And then you think someone driving that vehicle would be driving that.
Yeah. And then what's the next thing you think you see someone driving a vehicle does?
They either spin out and crash, or they get pulled over and get a speeding ticket.
He's in it. I'm coming by Abbotsford, and he's fully rear-ended someone. Like,
oh no,
three cars deep. Like,
where it just piles up.
Like, and possibly like there was a Tesla that I thought was driving a bit douchey, and it might have been him that he rear-ended. And my wife was ecstatic. She's like, "Karma, yes, that guy drove like a douche." And now, and then you kind of look, and it's like a younger dude, and it's like, yeah, you've probably, maybe, hopefully, learned a little bit of a lesson driving that
sucks.
way. Yeah. It does suck, but he was also like, there's a time and a place for everything, and the places where he was choosing it to be the place was not the place.
I feel like that's like a thing that comes with experience, and that's why you're like, he was a young guy.
You can totally tell a young driver. It's like you see just like a car like swerving through traffic, like it like they like literally give zero shits. It's probably has an N on it. Like
yeah. It was a purple Cobra with the stripe down the middle, and I feel like it was gold and then black in the middle. And it's like that's quite the look. Anyway,
that is quite the combination.
I got another question for us, and which is great because it fully excludes me from the question.
Okay.
Golden_drift_squad.
Yeah.
Chris Klein, aka Chris K. He says, I want to ask what Kevin and G budget per drift event, with the price of fuel, tires, accommodations, travel, etc. What's an honest 1 to 2 day event budget? And do you think this affects motorsports dying out because it's becoming so unaffordable? When for the same price, you can fly to Japan and rent a car and have the vacation for nearly the same cost of what it costs you to trailer a car 2,000 kilometers just to drift. I used to be poor and drove 5 times the amount I do now. Now maybe I get to 2 to 3 events a year with having to take time off work, travel days, and easily spend 2 to 3K on a weekend of drifting away from home. So a little bit of backstory there. I will say this. Chris Klein's from Saskatchewan, and he's asking 2 guys from BC about drifting, which is, he didn't even bother to ask me, but I feel like I have more experience with traveling.
But you don't drift, so he's probably not asking.
Yeah. But Kevin also street drives everywhere, except for the one time.
Yeah, you probably have to ask Kevin, because honestly, I haven't legitimately been to a drift event in years.
How much did you budget yourself to go to the island and do 3 laps?
Me?
Yeah.
I budgeted nothing. I don't know. I just went to the island and brought a set of tires. So it was like, I don't know, $300 worth of tires, $250 worth of ferry, and then what is it? $200 in accommodation and food, obviously, food and beverages. And
for me, like, I don't know, like the accommodation is sort of what it is. It's unfortunate, but yeah, like if you can get an Airbnb like we did and like fill it with a bunch of people, then all of a sudden it's not that bad.
Yes.
Like you said, I drive to a lot of events, so I can only bring so many tires. So normally I would bring 4 brand new tires and then 2 that are on the car. So that would be $600 or nearly $700 or $700 in tires, basically. The event fee, and then like I don't know, the gas is the gas. Like it is what it is. Sort of. I'm not running a shit crazy horsepower car that has like, crazy fueling requirements. And
You mean E85? It's cheaper than your 94?
yeah, but you go through twice as much of it. So, you need to fill up midway through the day. And then at the end of like, if it's 2 days, that's 4 fills of the tank. If it's done, it's a little bit cheaper. Like
Yeah, but you got 600 horsepower, bro.
Exactly. And then that means you need you get 2 laps per set of tires. So now you're at like 24 tires for 2 days or something. It does add up, and especially if you have a crazy car. And then if you're driving, you're trucking and trailering your car to the event, and it definitely starts to add up. But yeah,
Kevin, how much horsepower is the Altessa?
350.
350? And you said to me
340, but yeah.
340. You said to me, I can't you said I don't even really understand why I would need more horsepower than that. And
yeah,
which is funny because
I'll tell you the exact reason why you don't think you need more horsepower.
Well, I'm going to make this
go on.
i
I'm just fucking with you guys. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I really like that because Kevin's kind of got it figured out where it's like, one, Kevin goes to an event and people will be like, how much horsepower does this thing have? Like 600? And it's like, nope. Kevin just drives really hard. Like he doesn't give a fuck, even though he's got to drive the thing home, which is great. And then he has it figured out. Like you just said, it's like more horsepower means more tires, which is something that I can't bring because I'm not trailering. You're street driving to an event. I think to Chris Klein's point, all the dudes in Saskatchewan have to trailer somewhere because they're not street driving that 16 hours or 8 hours or whatever, how long. But yeah, so it's interesting watching Kevin, who has like a clear equation in his head of like what needs to be done in order to street drive to an event, minimize cost, and still have fun, I guess.
Yeah. I remember, honestly, like when I used to drift the yellow car, because we would always just basically the only drift events we went to were in Washington. And I would, once I started buying like actual new tires, it was always like, I would bring 4 wheels of tires. So at the time, you just put it in today's standards, that's, let's call it $150 a tire. So that's 150 times 6. So $900 of tires. And then I would say at the bare minimum, it's $200 in travel expenses, not including fuel, right? So there's like your food, your like accommodations, or if maybe you're only just driving down for the day, but you're still going to buy a bunch of fucking food and shit like that, right? So it's probably generally like $200 worth of like stuff. And then your fuel is, I don't know, whatever your car takes, right? It would be at least 2 full tanks. Back then it would be, let's call it $100. But in today's day and age, that's a full tank on a Cressida or your old Tesla's what, 70 liters?
Yeah.
So that's about at 94, that's about $160, is it right?
That's right. It's like 232, whatever, 33, isn't it?
Well, depends. Yeah.
Depends on the time when you travel.
Yeah, it really depends. But let's just call it $200 a tank at this point, right? So it's $400 in fuel, $200 in expenses, $900 in tires for 1 day of drifting. So it's $1,500 basically for a driving event like you have to drive to.
Right. That's a lot of cash. But
yeah, it really is, honestly.
But now when you put it into perspective, imagine like how much was it for you guys to go to
the final bout?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Final bout, I want to say, I'm not 100% sure. Kevin would have to verify, but I think final bout cost Kevin and I 10 grand.
Really?
It was fucked. Yeah.
Like each or per?
No. I think total. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin. Final bout for us was approximately $10,000.
Like total?
Yeah, total.
I would think it was probably a bit more than that.
Really? Okay, yeah, exactly. Like,
but also like the hugest amount of that was transportation, and it was like a super good deal.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, we paid a lot in fuel. It was a lot of fuel. But that's the thing too, is like it was partially like a vacation. So that's
how I treat all of it. It's like,
right, but
when they're like, oh, you got to factor in like your accommodation and your eating. It's like, well, I got to eat every day. I
Yeah.
got to sleep somewhere every day. Like, I know, when you sleep at home, you're not paying for it, but like,
Well, you are, but not. Yeah.
You're also not sleeping in a fucking mansion at the top of a mountain with a bunch of your friends.
I mean, you are
Yeah.
if you're Gerard. But...
oh, fucking Mr. Grey Poupon over there. All right.
You guys
That's an old man joke right there.
Yeah.
It's great because we're going to talk about food in a little bit. We're really priming the pump. Hang on. Chris did make the point, like, when you could just go to Japan and rent a car. I would argue that for the price that you guys do events, with the exception of Final Bout, you can't just fly to Japan and rent a car.
Absolutely
no,
not.
like,
No.
and
I think you could. It's pretty, like, that's the thing. It's like, if you're saying an event, Gerard, is going to cost you $1,100 a day. Like, maybe it's, maybe a 2-day event doesn't cost the whole 3,000. Maybe it costs 25 or something, because
right.
You're traveling the same distance, but drifting 2 days, then traveling the same distance back, So like, yeah, maybe, but you could easily go to a couple of drift events in the summer and spend $12,000. And you could easily fly to Japan and drift for quite a while for $12,000.
Oh yeah.
Like, flights there and back right now are like $1,200.
Yeah, I mean, realistically,
that gives you $10,000 in Japan.
So yeah, I remember like when I when I was drifting heavily back in 2008 with the yellow car, and I had this new girlfriend or whatever, and I had gone to whatever place it was back then where we go and buy tires with my van. I bought $700 worth of tires. And so she's like, oh yeah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to this drift event on the weekend. I just bought tires. She's like, oh yeah, how much was that? I was like, $700. She's like, excuse me, like $700? She's like, and then you still got to go and like do all this stuff and pay. I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, you could just go to Mexico for that much, right? And I'm just like, I never, ever actually thought about it like that. But also, yeah, I guess that's just different strokes for different folks. Like,
right.
I don't really give a shit to go to Mexico for 2 days or 3 days versus going to drift with my friends.
We've had this conversation before where it's like, I work with a bunch of people who like would travel around the world and go to different cities. They'd be like, oh, you don't like to travel. And it's like, no, I like traveling just to different things than you guys do. I like to go to the thing that like makes no fucking sense to you. But like, like there's a group of people that get what I'm into. They will go to an event. They will see something that not everybody else in the world will see in that moment. And, like you go to Final Bout, that's an experience. And not everybody's going to get it, but I go and the people that are there get it. That's still travel. It's just not going to like Mozambique or anything like that. It's
I still feel like you travel around though too. Like you were in like Tofino and Sunshine Coast and Kelowna and like Whistler and like.
I think people, when they say that, they mean like, oh, like they go spent portions of their life like backpacking, or they go to Europe for weeks on end, and like. Then they'll be like, Europe's the best. And then I'll be like, Europe's fine.
For those people, like, that's like my mom, where it's like, travel is their life. It's like, that's like they post on. Yeah, which is it's kind of a weird thing to I would still argue that travel is all of our things but it has to do with cars. Like we travel to Victoria. Kevin, you and I spent like almost 2 full days in a car where we could barely have a conversation, so we could go to Spirit Peaks, and I loved it. I thought that was great. Like that's almost like an ideal vacation for me. If I'm not with my family, but no, I love doing that. I've always loved going on like car vacations. So like, I don't know. It's just a difference of opinion, different ways that people view things.
Yeah,
and I guess.
Agree.
The dollar, you can't be counting the dollar bills, Chris Klein. You just got to do what makes you happy, because you can't take it with you. He didn't even ask me what I think, and I just gave him an answer. But because I want to do the next question real quick, and then we can fucking talk about food. All right. JZS Pappy.
Yeah.
JZS _Pappy wrote.
I haven't heard from him in a while.
He wrote a lot, and I'm not going to go through it because we're on a time crunch. Essentially, he's bought two separate cars.
Drag it out. Take it all the time you need. We can just save food for another one where we can do the whole,
because there's
whole
always
3 hours on food.
You guys,
talk
there's
about
always
our
going to
meal
be
prep.
questions. Meal prep. All right.
No. The answer is no meal prep. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, no meal prep. Okay.
Meal prep to make the meal?
JZS_Poppy, our buddy from Germany, still is without his Aristo.
What the fuck, man? Anyways.
And he bought 2 cars.
Yeah,
one
he bought
is
a
a
cool
daily.
car.
Yeah, he bought a daily commuter, which is an E11 G6 TTE Corolla.
Yes, that thing's tight.
Yeah, and then he bought an 8.6.
Baller.
Yeah. Now, he said that he actually enjoys the E11 more than the 8.6.
Yeah, why not?
The 8.6 is like kind of whatever. And it brought him to this point where he wanted to ask this question. And have you ever bought a car you never thought you would like? And then like afterward, and then like on the flip side, have you ever bought a car you thought you would like and then didn't end up liking it? So, and that's what kind of like, he's like, oh, this commuter will just be my commuter. And then the 8.6 will be the cool car. But it turns out he likes the commuter more than the 8.6. The 8.6 is like whatever, kind of. He sent me a voice note, which I love. He like sends voice notes and I think it's great. So have you ever bought a car that you didn't think you would like and it turned out that you really liked it? And then vice versa. Have you ever bought a car that you thought you would love and didn't like it?
I mean, I loved my Suzuki Esteem. Like, absolutely loved it. It was like, and I bought it as same thing as a commuter car. But I mean, I kind of thought it was a cool car to start with. And I actually did want that car. However, I thought I wanted, but there were 2 models. One's a 1.5 single cam and one's a 1.6 like twin cam, which was like obviously like the better one. But like, I don't think that ever came in the wagon. And so I just got whatever was there, which was the 1.5 shitty peasant, like, but it was a wagon. And I ended up just thinking it was great. Like, it wasn't fast, but it was just so fun to drive. And like, you just shit kick it all day long. And it was super dope. But I mean, I don't know if that's a car I didn't think I would like that I ended up liking, because I did actually like it. That's why I bought it. But yeah, I would say that car would be that one.
I feel like this is like a bad question for me, because like I feel like I just buy the same cars and the same type of cars all the time. Like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a Toyota sedan and I know what I'm getting into, and like there's like slight little variances between them and that sort of stuff, but they're all the fucking same.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't know. I bought a Subaru Legacy, but like
that was
what was it, like an Outback?
Total lemon. No, it was just a Legacy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I don't think that was really representative of those cars, but like that car was a complete pile, and I hated it.
Fucking total pile.
Yeah. I mean, okay. This is one thing that I'll admit it, but I like not happily. It's like the fire truck, man. Like, as much as I love that thing, and like it's like I could have like a million times. I could have bought like 5 4Runners and destroyed them all and like gone around the world, but like I had to buy the fire truck and do everything myself. And yeah, it's like, could have just bought something more normal, less SerialNine-y, and been doing the thing rather than like
doing the
building the most.
Right.
He took a page out of our podcast where we're like, yo, don't like don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And then you have to reinvent the wheel for that.
Yeah, but like now,
literally, you had to go somewhere and get them to help build you a wheel.
Yeah, I've reinvented 3/4 of the wheel, so I need to at least get like the remaining 25%.
I feel like I'm pretty good with this because I just like love all cars. For like, I'm like one of these, like, I can see the beauty in all shit. You know what I mean? Like my Xterra, another total like love affair. Like I bought it because I was like, okay, whatever, like I need a truck, it's cheap. And the same thing, it was like the full peasant model, first gear, 170 horse, 5-speed. It wasn't even like the next year, literally they had 180 horse. It was like the shittiest one. I ended up just absolutely loving that truck. I still to this day think it's like the best thing in the entire world. It's like the best $1,700 I ever spent in my life or some shit. But one thing that we did buy that I actually ended up hating and my wife ended up hating was that Sienna. Because I was like, yo, buy the Toyota. It makes sense. It'll be reliable. It's the best. Like, so my wife wanted a new minivan because, our family got bigger, whatever. And she wanted to buy it cash. She doesn't like payments. She doesn't whatever. So then obviously then your budget is fairly limited because, nobody has like $40,000 or $50,000 laying around. I mean, some people do, I guess, but she had saved up whatever, like $25,000 to $28,000, and we had to trade in on a CRV. So she could only afford whatever the base model Sienna. But I said, doesn't matter. It's a Sienna. It'll be great. It has a great motor. It's 300 horsepower, whatever, this and that. And then whatever, she drives it. It's great. We buy it. But it's a peasant model. So it's got like cloth seats, no options, like no tech. Like it is what it is. It's a minivan. It does the job, which is, I thought would be good enough for her. So fast forward a couple of years, but I mean, as soon as I drove the thing more than like 10 minutes, I'm like, man, this thing fucking sucks. Like the steering feels like a forklift because it's like fully electric. Like, yeah, it's fast, but like the power, like you have to dig for it. So like 80% of the time in day-to-day traffic, it kind of feels slow, but like when you really floor it, it actually fucks off and rips. And it's a beam axle, so it rides all shitty, and it's like, base model, so it's like super noisy and just like creaky and like rattles and stuff. So anyways, Sienna. Bought it, thought we loved it. And then, so anyways, the other thing too is it ended up giving her like massive back pain to the point where she just got rid of it and traded it for an Odyssey. So yeah, she leveled up, man. That Odyssey is fucking sick. I haven't like posted any pictures of it yet, but it's like really, really fucking sick.
All right, I'll try. Car I thought I'd love and ended up not liking. Probably the Celsius.
The Celsius.
The Celsius. No,
Yeah.
the Celsius.
Yeah.
Only because, and I've said this before, it's like when all of your friends have like RX-7s and Skylines and like SR powered Miatas and can fully fucking rip everywhere, and then you're like, watch me air out. Like it's it's not the most fun. Like it's bad on gas, it's not fast, it didn't do a lot. And so that was, I would say, the one car that I bought where I was like, kind of ended up being a waste of money. But I think as a car guy, not on the same level as Gerard, most of us can always, we buy a car because there's something that we like about it. So I think that like, even with JZX's _Poppy's situation, he obviously bought that Corolla, the newer one, because there was something that he liked about it. He bought two cars that he still liked. It wasn't like he bought a car that he hated and then ended up loving it. He bought a car that like did something for him, and it turns out it did more for him than he thought it would. And I think that's kind of the case for everything. I thought about it a lot today, and I was like, man, it's weird that I used to drive an S chassis, because it's like, and then I'm like, I'm not an S chassis guy. I like S chassis, but like, I'm not an S chassis guy. Like, I've been a Toyota sedan guy for so long, and like the Aristo is kind of like a weird. It's not a weird car.
Don't get pigeonholed into one particular genre or manufacturer of car.
I just want to be like Kevin when I grow up. Yeah, and I like thought about it. I'm like, oh man, like the Aristo's like kind of a funny car to be into as it is. Like, it's not really a sports car. I mean, you can talk about it like it is, but I don't know. Anyway. I mean, but like the S chassis kind of is.
That's the elephant in the room. I bought the Aristo. I didn't like that car.
That's true. That is the one that Gerard didn't like there. But that's the one that hurts everyone the most, because it's like when we post videos of my car on the SerialNine channel, people will be like, I wonder if Gerard misses his. And then people are like, nah, he says all the time he hates it.
No, I don't miss
all
it.
right. Okay.
Don't miss it at all.
All right. You guys, we got through those questions. Now we have the allotted time to talk about food.
Do we know?
Yeah, for sure we do. We've only actually been talking probably for like 20 minutes about actual stuff.
Oh, right.
Okay. Food. So
We
funny
eat it.
thing, Yeah, everybody eats. Everybody's got to eat. Actually, our buddy Joel from Florida wrote in. He was like, "You guys should do the food episode." And I was like, "All right, that is one vote for food." Okay, I don't. And it's funny because we are we are a car podcast. I don't know if you've got that or not, but now we have to try to transition into being a food podcast. So
it's not a food podcast. It's car guys talking about food.
Yeah, do we have to transition into a mental health podcast? No, we just talk about mental health.
Exactly.
Listen, Michelin Star is a tire company that rates restaurants. Michelin. So I think we'll be okay. I like exactly. That. I like that Michelin. That's the thing.
They did the tire company.
You? Yeah, they did it for us. They spread the seas. So
they bridged that gap.
Yeah, so we don't have to. Never be the first to do anything. Thank you, Michelin Star. Hey, have any of you ever ate at a Michelin Star restaurant?
Probably, but couldn't tell you.
So we're
off to a great start. Go on.
My nephew, he doesn't have a Michelin Star restaurant, but last time he was over. So my nephew has a restaurant. It's called Enrique. It's in Vancouver. It's like a high-end African fusion restaurant. And he's all about that. Like the chef that trained him was Michelin Star from UK. He's like really, really focused on like really quality food, quality experience. And that's the whole thing with the Michelin Star. Do you even know how the Michelin Star came about? It's actually pretty crazy.
I assume the tire company was just telling people where to eat when they go on.
Yeah, that's how it started. And then it ended up being like, oh, like you guys should rate the restaurants and this and that. And it started as I guess it was like a booklet you get back in the day, and Michelin would be like, oh, these are the restaurants, you could eat along your route. Because I guess it was like a map book or something too. And yeah, sure enough, that's kind of how it went. But anyways,
Time out. I guess the Michelin Man is a great mascot. Just saying. Continue.
Yes.
So anyways, apparently Michelin Star is coming to Vancouver, and they're going to award a few restaurants here the Michelin Star. And I mean, the food scene here is fairly immature. Immature meaning kind of like the car scene.
The whole fucking city's immature.
Yeah, people don't actually know what good food is. So when they get food that's even remotely good, they're just like, oh my God, it's so amazing. This is like a Michelin Star restaurant, blah, blah, this and that, whatever.
Man, your cousin sounds exactly like he's your cousin.
My nephew.
Or nephew, sorry.
Which is funny because he's blood, but we've never met. And we're from the same family. But dude, he's on another level, man. He's such a perfectionist.
Oh yeah. Have you met
really?
Oh man, I don't even imagine what it would be like to spend time with something like that. Yeah. Do you think his food is congruent? Anyway, go on.
Yeah, so
is he avant-garde?
Yeah,
I do feel his. I mean, we do connect on that level where it's the shit has to be really dope. So
yeah, fuck peasants,
Unfortunately though,
part of how I rate good food is a little bit of value. And I'm from the prairies, so let's not forget that. It's very funny because you guys were like, oh, Ryan doesn't want to do a food episode. But it's man, I fucking love food.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why I was why don't you want to do a fucking food episode?
But it's because everybody loves food, and I get that. I get that that's the thing. But everyone is a foodie. Everyone has a thought on it, whether they are or they are not, and their opinions on it. If you followed me on Instagram before I had a daughter, it was just food and cars. Yeah, also, I do feel like I get minorly disqualified from this whole conversation for being a vegetarian / almost a vegan. Just kind of fuck that guy. What does he know about food? So anyway, that is my hesitation. But let's go.
Giddy up.
Yeah. Okay. So none of us have eaten.
I was going to say that I feel that maybe you are, you know what I mean? Maybe you have a better opinion on food.
I mean,
Feels like
I've
you're
eaten a lot of it.
You're closer to the food. You know what I mean? You're eating like a rawer form of the food. I would feel.
Oh no, hang on. We've spent enough time together. Like there's like healthy vegans and vegetarians.
and there's the ones that eat
and then
chips and
there's
fucking French
me.
fries and shit all the time.
And then there's me. It's like I still like will eat a lot of.
I mean, the last time I talked to you, you're like, "Oh, I'm just roasting a bunch of vegetables for dinner."
Yeah, they were delicious, but still.
We want to something funny. Sorry, total off topic. I'm looking on Amazon at these like rain guards. It says made in US acrylic, like not even USA. It's like made in us acrylic. Anyways,
great.
What was the one we were looking at the other day when it was like, made in China?
Made in chain or something.
It was like China. It was like they couldn't even spell China correctly.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
back to the food. Okay. So I do really like food. I just wanted to avoid doing this because I feel like everybody has an opinion and really likes food. Everyone's kind of a foodie now. That was my concern. But I do. I love, look at me. I love food. Can't get enough of it even.
Okay.
What is the best restaurant you've ever eaten at?
I was going to say, let's start with what's your favorite type of food?
Oh, okay, fine, Gerard. What's your favorite type of food?
All of
Mexican. Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
I don't know if I have a favorite type of food, but like Mexican definitely is kind of high up there just because
value.
Oh man, value, man. It's
value.
Just, it's, like it's so good. I mean, I'm talking like street tacos here. I'm not even talking like Mexican restaurant. It's like like literally drive across the border, go to like a taco truck, and I'm in heaven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, of course, there's like other good food. But I really just kind of enjoy all sorts of food. I mean, I really like seafood. I really like Italian food.
Oof, Italians.
What's
the best Italian food you've ever had?
I mean, Ask for Luigi's is pretty good. I haven't really been to too many high-end like Italian. Any place that makes their own pasta is usually pretty good. We always go to this place called Cotto. Cotto it's not even like a super high-end place, but it's like they make their own pasta. The food's super fresh. And
is that in B-Town?
There's one in Burnaby. Yeah, North Burnaby.
I call it B-Town. Yeah, that's
okay.
what
But there's also one. But there's also one here on White Rock Beach, on Crest Beach, which is close to my house, which is sick because we ate there recently, and it's actually better than the one in Burnaby. So I was like,
oh. People at home listening may not know Burnaby is a suburb in Vancouver. Yes. North Burnaby has a fairly high Italian population. My buddy lives there, calls it B-Town, goes off about it all the time.
Yeah.
North B-Town. It's like the Jersey Shore, but not.
It is. Yeah. Like all the high schools there with the kids have it's always like huge fights and like, they get these like.
So your best Italian food you've ever had is Cotto's?
I mean, again, it's a value thing, right? I'm sure there are better Italian restaurants, but
if you're going to talk about value in like Burnaby, you're going to go to that other place. What the fuck is it called?
Oh, no. That place is no good. That place
Anton's?
is called
no bueno.
Anton's. Yeah, they'll give you basically.
It's not terrible, but like it's like what I don't know why they give you so much.
I don't need 8 pounds of pasta. You
don't want 8 pounds of carbs? I do.
No.
Yeah, I definitely don't. Like I can't even eat 1/8 of this entree. Like that's not even an exaggeration.
Yeah. All right. So that's Kevin. What are your favorite types?
My favorite types
say whatever
of
you're going to say. No, say whatever you're going to say. I didn't.
Okay, yeah, because that feels truer to what I was like actually feeling. I was just going to say I'd rather pay the same amount for less food and have it be better food. Always. I hate all you can eat sushi. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to gorge myself on sushi. I don't want to gorge myself kind of really ever. Right. I just want to eat until I'm full. Some delicious ass food,
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
But when you're 20 and you're with all your friends, are you ever really full?
There's a time and a place for everything. And I don't know. Like when we had that barbecue at your house, I literally ate fucking spare ribs until I couldn't eat anything anymore. And
you mean the Filipino pork?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I definitely do that.
I've only done all you can eat sushi once, and it was not for me. I was like, this is not like it was.
Yeah.
Someone else had to eat my food because they were like, they'll charge you if you don't eat it all. And I was like, nah, I don't like this. I'd rather just have good food.
And now you're sneaking into the bathroom and like napkins in your pockets and like throwing it in the toilet.
About that. No, that's a good idea.
You're calling your big buddy in to come to your table and eat all your food because you guys are never going to finish it all.
Yeah. I also enjoy Italian food.
Excuse me.
And I agree with you. Whoever makes their own pasta. I will say best Italian food I've had was kind of, but also not surprising, was in Venice, Italy.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yo, what about that place, Gerard? You and I went in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, that place.
Dude, that place was very good.
That would be good.
I don't even know the name of it. But
I could not tell you either.
I was just going to say, I don't remember the place that I ate, but it was great because Venice is obviously has all the fucking canals and shit.
Yeah.
But the more it was like a takeout place, and it was an old dude who like just made pasta, and it was like you had 3 types of pasta that day, and then you pick the sauce that you put on.
Yeah.
And the closer you got, the more and more people were standing outside with their takeout cartons, just like scarfing down this pasta. And like I went, and I remember we were taking the train to Munich that night. And so we had to get on the train and eat this pasta. And I remember eating and being like, holy shit, I think this is the best pasta I've ever had. And it's just out of like a takeout carton on a train going to Germany. That was my oh shit moment. But anyway, okay. So Italian food. I also love Italian food.
Yeah. So one thing I was going to say about Cotto is, they make their own pasta, but they do a really good carbonara because they do like the, what is it, like 107 degree egg or whatever. So it's like just quite cooked. So when you mix it in, they do it. And the Caesar salad is like a legit, like there's like, the romaine leaves and the anchovy. Man, it's just so good. Anyways.
Man, I'm so excited for us to get real sponsorship from Cotto right now. What's your favorite type of food? Like, what's your favorite dish? Anywhere. Like if I was like, hey, favorite thing.
Man, I mean, I don't know. I love mussels. That's a pretty simple dish.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, put them in a pan with some like white wine, garlic, and like butter, or add some chorizo or something. I mean, yeah, man, it's pretty.
Sounds pretty.
Mind you, I've never made them, but like,
That's
like I know you can't screw it up.
Get
you
the
cook them till they're open and you're done.
And a nice white wine and maybe some chorizo, and you got it.
Yeah.
Kevin, what's your favorite dish? If I were to attach one dish to Kevin, what would it be? Also, mussels wouldn't have been
dish.
Then mussels would not have been my like go-to Gerard like assigned. Like cuisine and things that I would assign to Gerard wouldn't be mussels.
It's just when I go to a restaurant and they have it on the menu, and especially if the broth has chorizo or any sort of like spicy, like really like strong flavored broth, I get super excited about it and I always order it. So that's probably why I said it.
Okay.
Anyways,
that makes sense.
Kevin, a dish attached to
excitement.
Kevin.
If I see chicken and waffles on the menu, I'm probably going to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
where was I with you when that happened?
Like the Olive Garden or some bullshit.
No, you know. Oh, it was
chicken and waffles at Olive Garden.
It was the basic.
Sounds like a bad time.
We were at Cheesecake Factory. That's the only time you and I have eaten at like a fully like basic restaurant together.
Yeah, I think that's true. We normally have always found a better place.
Yeah, like Nicole was with us, and Nicole usually isn't having that shit either. But it was just like we were at Week Fest. We couldn't get.
It was across the street from the venue. Yeah.
There's something for everyone at the Cheesecake Factory. Okay.
Yeah, I got chicken and waffles. Ryan, what did you get there?
What did I get there? Huevo Rancheros.
Huevos Rancheros.
Huevos Rancheros. Yeah, that's a me dish. So mine is poutine. I love poutine.
Oh, good call, bro.
That's why. So
I was gonna say mashed potatoes before, but I was like, that's like a really cheesy white answer. And
fucking mashed potatoes.
I mean, who cares, man?
Dude,
honestly,
so
I mean, that's
fucking
good. That's the thing too, man. Street tacos. Man,
Street
you
tacos
Americans,
isn't a thing though.
it
Like,
is,
that is
man. You Americans are spoiled as shit, man. Like, I
Don't
remember
say
on
that.
our Cali trip, like anytime we go to Washington, I mean, like here, tacos means like some bullshit restaurant with 3 tacos on those stupid metal.
Not
fucking
always,
full-
Gerard.
And it's
but I know what you mean.
$18.
and it's
Yeah.
$18, and it's like, it's just give me some fucking $2 street tacos
Yeah.
from a lady that doesn't speak English, and some fucking spicy ass like hot sauce that like 800 people have used before me. I'll
Yeah, I
be
mean,
there
like,
all
there's
day.
no, like, I don't even want English on the menu.
Yeah, just give me whatever the fuck you got. If I can't
That
read
is-
it, I'll order it. As
When Kevin and I went to Spirit Peaks, we went and we had like, as I've mentioned, I'm a vegetarian / almost vegan. So it's like for me to eat at certain places, it doesn't always work out. And I had to like research a place, and Kevin and I went there, and the restaurant was fine. It was like whatever in Seattle. But then we went to a dispensary, and Kevin's like, "Man, we should have just fucking got tacos from that truck over there."
Because
Like,
there
and
was
I
like
I
literally in
felt
the
bad.
parking lot of the
Yeah.
dispensary was like this taco truck, and I was just
oh,
like,
that's sick.
man, I guarantee those tacos from there were so bomb.
Yeah,
And, like,
and I felt really bad. I was like, man. Anyway,
No,
But
Yeah,
I mean, they always have vegetarian options at taco trucks, bro.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't even about that. It was just like
Oh, it's
we
just
didn't.
because you guys
We're just
eat.
trying to.
Oh, because you went to the place that Ryan researched.
yeah,
okay.
and like we weren't like, "Where's a taco truck?" It was like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't. That was hard.
Okay, I'll ask you
Anyway,
guys a question.
I didn't get to talk about poutine, but
Oh,
fine,
sorry. Go
doesn't
on.
matter.
No, go on. Poutine.
One, also mashed potatoes is a great answer, Kevin, because potatoes just isn't it like the most efficient way to get like calories or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Jesus.
poutine. Here's the thing: for people that know anything about me, Dodo Logic's best-selling design is a cat eating poutine out of a bento box, and that is based on me because I love cats, I love poutine, and Japanese shit, and that's where that like design came from. And when you ask Jesse Exner, the guy who designed it, he's like, he's a tattoo artist now, but he always says, is like, if you would have told me my most popular design would have been a fucking cat eating poutine, out of a bento box. But I kind of gave up on poutine because, and for Americans that don't know, poutine is French fries, gravy. and cheese curds. Now
It's
you
like
get
a beef gravy. So it's like a dark ass gravy with cheese curds.
You can get different variations of it. When I lived in Regina, I had this like amazing hookup. I'd go to this. There's a restaurant in Regina called Beer Brothers, and Beer Brothers has a deli. And at lunch, it was only open for lunch. And there was the guys that worked that deli really liked me because I came in and would always order their like special poutine.
Mhm.
And so before I moved away from Saskatchewan, I would go in there and they would make special poutines just for me. So the dude working the counter would be like, "Yo, I found this like cherry smoked bacon in the freezer that we gotta like get like use up, and I got these like lattice cut fries. So I figured I'd like put that together with this, and like, yeah, man, it'll be fucking awesome." And then the lady standing next to me in line was like,
I want that too.
I want that too. And he's like, "Sure." And so like I'm sitting there eating this poutine. I'm like, "Man, this is fucking amazing." And the chef walks over to me. He's like, "Hey, that lady thought she was getting the same food as you, but she didn't. We gave her something else." And that and I have honestly, these two guys that did that don't listen to this podcast, and that's fine. But I've never found poutine as good as they've made poutine. So like, I kind of gave up on poutine when I moved to BC because like BC is. A lot of people will tell you like, "Oh, this place is really good and that place is really good," but they're all kind of just like
not that great.
They're not that great because the key to a really good poutine in my books, and somebody in Quebec is going to be very mad about this, but is if somebody starts with really good ingredients. So if you go to a nice restaurant, which Beer Brothers was, and they happen to have cherry smoked bacon in the freezer, that's automatically going to be better than someone that's just like, "Oh, I got like shredded bacon in the back," or like whatever I bought. It's like all the times I've had poutine out here, it's like it's a poutine restaurant and they're just trying to make a profit. So it's like,
so where
cheap gravy. Where have I had poutine here?
Which poutines have you had here?
What's
Obviously,
the
you've
one on
had
commercial?
Fritz. Oh,
I've had Fritz, which is fine. And then what's the one on commercial?
I
LaBelle.
haven't been
And
to
then I've
one
had
commercial.
and then I've had La Belle Patate.
La Belle Patate.
Isn't there one called like the Angry Poutine or something?
That's that's on Granville. And I generally don't eat food near Granville. Just it's whatever. It's like for the bar people.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is why I didn't want to do a food
honestly, one of
podcast,
the
because
best
I have
poutines.
strong opinions. Go
One
on.
of the
Yeah,
best
lay 'em out.
poutines.
I swear we agree with your opinions.
Yeah, one of the best poutines was that truck in Penticton that would be outside of the bar. And I remember I would, when it was DUI time, I would drive there in the middle of the night because I like driving at night. So I would leave at like whatever, midnight and get there at like 3 a.m. and he would almost be done. And so like you'd get there and have poutine at 3 a.m. off this truck. And I mean, maybe it was just really good because it was like a food truck. But yeah, those were good.
Anyway, I like a gourmet poutine as well.
Yeah, I'm not down with the weird like the meat and all that other stuff on it. For me it's just like gravy, cheese, fries. That's it.
You got to have good fries. They got to be cooked.
Yeah, the fries have to be
gotta
bomb.
be
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And the cheese has to actually be melted.
I feel like this is one thing we were talking about recently. Was there's nothing more disappointing than going out and paying money for food, knowing that you could make it better yourself. And I'm finding it's getting more and more like that. Like I don't know if I don't really think like what I'm making is getting better, or what I'm making is I'm making more things than I used to make. I just kind of honestly think that like the food that you're getting out there is getting shittier, and the value is going down.
I think it's because inflation, but I've talked to people that know people on the one of my buddies is buddies with a dude that works at like Earl's head office, which I don't think Earl's exists in the US or Australia.
It does.
Or other, but it does.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Okay, and they said just like the way that costs are affecting things, like prices are going up, inflation is hitting restaurants really badly, like really hard. So it's like I kind of feel the same way as you, Kevin. It's like, but maybe mine's a bit different, is that you're now spending more money to get sometimes the lesser quality things. Like I would say I was always okay spending like $16 to $17 on a dish, but now you're asking me to spend like $20 to $22 on the same meal. And it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily for me, but anyway. Yeah,
exactly. Right. And then there's nothing worse than that, than spending that 22 and then being like, I could have done this better myself for less money.
Fully.
It's a value thing. And also, Kevin, you're getting older and your tastes are getting more discerning, because like when you're a kid or like younger or like maybe just not really super into food, every food is like good or different or new. And like sometimes you also, as a kid, you like don't really give a shit how much it costs. It's like situational. Sometimes you're like with your friends, y'all go to dinner. The food may or may not be good, but like you're having a good time. You're probably drinking and it like doesn't really fucking matter. But like as you get older, you're like, okay, I'm going out for dinner. Like this is going to be like a, $100 to $200 night or whatever. And it's like, you want to have a satisfaction. You want to be satisfied. Maybe you're with your girlfriend, maybe you're going with a couple of friends, whatever. But like, when every dish costs $20+ it's fucked too. Cause when we go to the States, the dishes cost the same, but they're 30% more because of the dollar. So I remember like the last time Kat and I went to Seattle, it was exorbitantly expensive. And it's funny too, because like the more expensive it is, the higher your expectations are, but the more you're disappointed. It's like a sliding scale. You pay more and you just get more fucking disappointed. That's why street tacos, in our opinion, are just, you pay less, but you're way more satisfied. So like the experience is so much better.
Well, also like it's like one of those 5 tacos doesn't taste good. You just don't eat that one taco again, and when you get more tacos or something, and it's like. But like if your one $28 entree doesn't taste good, then 100%. You're kind of up shit creek.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was literally in the situation where I brought it home because I felt so fucking guilty about spending this much money on this shitty dish. And then I tried to eat it the next day because to preserve the value, quote unquote, in it. And I was just like, man, fuck this. I don't enjoy this food. I'm just going to throw it away. But you're literally throwing money in the garbage. Sucks.
Does suck. Yeah. I've had to like reevaluate or like make peace with how much I spend on eating out now. Like, because we go eat out and then like June comes and June has to get food because she's a human being that needs to eat.
It
And
does
it's like,
get expensive with kids, man.
yeah, and it's like now I'm spending like $70 to $80 on a meal, or
Yep.
like 90, and it's like, oh, like I just gotta like shake hands and make peace with that. Hang on, here's a funny thing. I originally, when I was moving to Vancouver, had an offer on a place that was just off Commercial Drive. Galen Norman's girlfriend at the time was our real estate agent, and we had an accepted offer. I had put an offer in on a place sight unseen. My in-laws looked at it, be like, yeah, you like it. We had to fly out to be like, do we actually want to live here? I had never been to Commercial.
Okay.
I went to Commercial Drive.
Or did you say sight on scene?
Sight unseen.
Unseen.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I know that's the term, but I fully thought you said on scene. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I would. I mean, if it makes you feel better, I can say that. Sight unseen. No, unseen. And I went to the place on Commercial. So we had that day where we like went and looked at the unit, and then we walked around Commercial Street, and I was like, this sign said best poutine in BC. And I'm like, oh fuck, we got to live here. And then I ate it. And I fully made an Instagram post being like, because now I'm looking back at all my food posts. And I made a post being like, I've had better. Like, step your game up. Like, what the fuck is this?
Flagrant false advertising.
Yeah. And then it was fully part of my decision to not live near that street. I'm like, you guys are full of shit. So I ended up living on Main Street. And that's why I don't live near Commercial.
There's probably better poutine on Main Street. No?
Is there?
I
don't know. I would just assume.
I don't know. Main Street's pretty good for like vegetarian and vegan food now, like especially where I live. But that's not for everyone.
I was going to ask you guys, steak. Do you guys, I mean, obviously, Ryan, maybe in your past life, you loved steak? Okay, so like, let's just talk about steak for a second. Like, one, how much do you love it? Two, how much would you spend on it? And I guess three, how do you like it?
I like steak quite a lot. I don't like going to like steakhouses per se though.
Yeah, like
for that same reason. It's like I could do this better. Like I could buy a very expensive cut of steak from like on my local butcher, which I'll do fairly often, and eat it at home exactly how I want it. And it's super good and super tender. And I could probably do that 4 times or go out and like get like go to an expensive steak place.
But then you don't get the experience of like the restaurant and all that shit, or you just don't care.
I just don't care, I guess.
Nothing tastes as good as saving a little bit of that cheddar, I kind of agree. I've only really been to one. Hang on. This might be offensive, so I apologize. We're not going to consider the Keg a steakhouse, are we?
I mean, it is called the Keg Steakhouse.
All right. Okay. So I've been to the Keg. Fine. But I've only been to like anything that isn't a Keg like once. I used to cook steak a ton at home. A little bit of a backstory for me. Both of my parents come from like a food background. That's how they met.
Cool.
They owned a restaurant for a bit. So my brother and I both know how to like my brother is a better cook than I am, but like we both kind of know how to cook. So
I did not know that at all.
Well, I mean, why would you? My dad ended up working at Coca-Cola and my mom did other things. But yeah, but it was like, so they had a food background. So cooked a lot at home. I'm kind of with Kevin where it's like, I never saw the value in going out and like spending a bunch of money when it was something that I could do at home myself. And then to tie this back to cars, probably how one would feel about like I can do an oil change myself. Why am I going to spend, unless I'm in a bind or need like something special or Gerard, like you're probably not always going to pay somebody to do something that you know how to do better than they know how to do, I think.
Okay, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
I don't know. And the experience that I had at the one steakhouse I went to, because it was like an old-timey Regina steakhouse, wasn't the greatest. I was just kind of like, this is kind of fucking like a weird experience. It wasn't like hip or cool or like they weren't doing anything that blew my doors off.
Mhm.
It's just they asked the smallest person at the table to order first, and then they would just go to the oldest. Like those
That's
are the
fucking
things,
weird.
right? That's how it was.
Yeah.
Ladies eat first. Old timey, unwoke bullshit steak restaurant.
Yeah, you should be asking the men first in this culture.
Mhm. Yeah, be fair. I'm hungry too.
So I like steak. I'm not a huge steak guy though. I mean, I definitely like, it's not one of my like top, you know what I mean? Like, oh, else we're going out for steaks or some shit. Mind you, traditionally on my birthday, we go to the Keg, which is, it's a steakhouse, quote unquote. And it's like, I want to say like pretty much the bottom of the barrel of what you would call a steakhouse. Like here we have Black and Blue, we have Highs, we have Gotham, we have all these like.
I would say Mike's steak. Mike's
okay, yeah, Mike
is less. Is less
Mike
than
and
the
Mike's or something, or Mike's.
Mike's,
It's Mr.
yeah.
Mike's.
I mean, there are definitely
Yeah.
those.
I would honestly say,
super-
I would say the Keg is definitely pretty high end. Like it's higher end than any of the other casual fine restaurants. It just happens to be a chain.
Yeah,
Kinda,
it's not.
which kind
Yeah.
of diminishes it a bit.
It's not Black and Blue. It's not Gotham.
I
or
mean,
whatever.
Black-
But I
okay,
feel
so
like,
like-
but I feel like those places are like not really good for how much they
I've
are.
never
they're not,
been.
They're
Yeah.
not that much above the Keg at all.
The only
Yeah,
time
so
I've
that's-
ever been
that's
to
what I
Black
was
and
kinda
Blue is for
getting
their
at.
lunch special. Go on.
That's kind of what I was getting at. It's like it's either I've been to Gotham or Black and Blue, and Highs. Okay, so Highs is actually kind of a funny one because, like, you know, I'm from Manitoba, and you know, so occasionally we go to Winnipeg as, like, you know, for the summers, and it was like a big deal. And we went to Highs one time in Winnipeg, and it was like Highs in, you know, when you're a kid from a buttfuck nowhere town, and in Winnipeg, like it was like an experience. I remember like the Highs, like the actual steak house, the venue, or the, like, you know, the premises in Winnipeg was crazy. It was an old building. You know, they had rooms, and it was like a house, somebody's house, and it was an old house, and it was beautiful. And like I remember the service was amazing. You know, everything was kind of like really high end, and that was, you know, probably the highest end restaurant I'd ever eaten at before. And of course, the food was amazing. But I was also probably like 11 or 12 years old. So then fast forward, you know, a bunch of years, we moved to BC, and you know, we go to this place called Old Surrey, the Old Surrey Steakhouse, which I think I'd like to actually go back there, because I remember it like being very
Sounds
similar
like
to
the
Highs.
old spaghetti factory.
No,
which I have
it's
a
like
funny
it's like
This is
story
my
about.
favorite
Dude,
Italian
that's the
restaurant.
worst.
I have a
fucking
hilarious
place.
story about that, and I'll tell you after this because it's okay.
Anyways, long story short, the Old Surrey restaurant was similar to Highs. It was pretty good, but I mean, I don't really remember it too much. But anyways, fast forward some more, I go to Highs here, and I'm like, okay, I'm so excited. I'm going to go to Highs, this and that. But then I look at the prices, and I'm like a young adult at this point. I'm thinking, holy fuck, it's like $130 for a steak. Like, this is wild. Like, you know, I've been to the Keg a bunch, and the Keg is, you know, like for the filet mignon I get, it's like, I think it's like $50 or $60, which, I mean, it's not fucking $30, but it's not $100, and it's only a 7-ounce, whatever. Yeah, so I go to Highs. I'm expecting it to be amazing and this and that. And it's like, man, it better be twice as good as the fucking Keg, because it's literally twice as expensive. And I mean, it was good, but was it twice as good? Absolutely not. It wasn't. And the service wasn't even that great.
How much ambiance would there have to be? You know?
I mean, honestly, it might have been the accessories or the like accompaniments. Like if their French onion soup was like amazing. The vegetables were amazing. The red wine, I bet you the wine selection is obviously probably maybe better or more extravagant at Highs, but like, I'm not spending $300 on a bottle of wine.
Maybe they got a sommelier.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
who actually knows. But that's the thing. It's like, I'm not a wine drinker. I can't taste the elements. It's like,
yeah,
the wine's wasted on me.
Well, also like, you know, like,
and then I'm wasted on the wine.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, it's a sliding scale too. Like, the more rare the wine, the more expensive it is. And it's like I said, I'm not spending $300 to $500 on a bottle of wine. So like, that's out of the question already. You know what I mean? But the coolest part is when they take that little comb and they clean the table with
take all the crumbs.
Yeah, that was the coolest part.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a bit weird, but like, so like when I used to go on cruises when I was young, they were like pretty fancy things, and everyone would get super dressed up for dinner. And
hang on, backstory. Why did Kevin go on cruises when he was young?
Because my mom owns a cruise-specific travel agency.
Yeah, we're learning about each other now.
Yes,
We learned
about our
parents
parents. Exactly.
Yeah, about our parents. Yeah.
So then, yeah, like our family trips would be like cruises. So back then, yeah, like I said, you'd get, it'd be dinner, you go to the dining room, you get dressed up. It'd be like a multi-course meal. Like there'd be like there'd always be some sort of crazy breads, and there'd be a soup or a salad or both. And then there'd be like, I don't know, maybe you'd get like escargot or some shit. Then you'd have your entree, and then there'd be, sometimes they'd bring like a chilled soup out, and then dessert. But yeah, same thing. They'd come around and they'd like clean up the table, clean up the crumbs. They like, if you got like a Caesar salad, they like toss it right there at the table and like pull out the chilled fork from the cart, and like all that shit was so sick. And then, yeah, like the last cruise I went on with my mom, it's like you go to the dining room table, there's fucking dudes wearing like baseball hats and shorts, and it's just like all the like magic of it is gone.
Yeah.
Sort of like, and like
Listen,
to me, like that to me was so cool. And that's what I like really liked. And like, yeah, like, it was like that like level of service and like, and that shit. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to go to a restaurant that is like that.
I do like
that
getting
is
dressed
worth,
up and
worth
going for
paying.
dinner.
Yeah, that too, like getting dressed up and like making it a thing. It's like, I'd rather like go out, and maybe that's how those places get it's because people want to go and do that and get the best experience and but
First, hang on. I feel like we should save more of this for the cruise ship episode that we're going to do.
Dude, what? I'm never going
No. Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. Okay, yeah. Well, Gerard, what were you going to say before I made my stupid joke?
No, I forgot. I was
all right.
I was just saying that service is sick, and I'd like to go to a restaurant that is like has service like that.
Yeah.
See, because you've been talking to my nephew, for example. A lot of it is about the experience. The experience is a really big deal. It's like the food is only part of the experience. The experience is the whole, like, the atmosphere, the ambience of the place,
the
like
how
service.
Long did you wait?
Yeah,
what was the host like?
Exactly, the service you received, this and that, and it's like nothing. And okay, yeah, that's actually a perfect example, because one of the best things about the Keg is that they are really, really good at pleasing you. It's like you wait long, your meal is free. Your steak was fucked up, they'll give you a new one right away. Like they never ever are like, no. They're always just like, whatever you like, if you're unhappy, we're gonna make you happy. One time we had my birthday there. This was a long time ago. I was probably like 13 or 14 years old or something like that. And we had my birthday there. There was a whole bunch of people. It was really busy. We ended up waiting like an hour and a half. The entire meal, desserts, everything was comped. The entire meal for everybody. It was like hundreds of dollars. Like it was, and I was like, yo, what? Like that was sick. And if you're dissatisfied with your steak, no questions asked. You don't even pay for it. And it's not like I try to do that because I like to, I enjoy steak and I want to get the good steak. But like if they fuck it up, it's free. So like that, to me, that's like pretty awesome. But
Sounds like the Keg is the Disneyland of steakhouses.
No, but it's like you go to those expensive places, you know what I mean? And like you don't like the steak, they're probably gonna be like, yo, fuck you, our steak's the best. Sorry. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I just dropped maybe $160 on your fucking steak. You guys can't even cook it properly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Now you're going to tell the Michelin star chef that he didn't cook your meat properly?
Yeah,
exactly.
I did have a funny story about the old spaghetti factory, but we'll save it. It's not important. It's just like
the old spaghetti factory is a funny story, period. So
yeah. I'll do it really quickly.
Yeah,
the first time I ever came to Vancouver, I was like 10 or 11. And I was only here for like an afternoon, and I was in Gastown. I was like my dad, my brother, and then a family friend. And like, it was just fucking like, you're from Regina. It's a different thing. You come to like downtown where I work now. And, people are like giving you like free promo ice cream to see what you think of the flavors. And then you go to I went to the old spaghetti factory. And I think it was the first time I ever had ravioli, and it fucking blew my mind.
Oh,
and
shit.
yeah, like I love ravioli. And so I start dating my now wife. She has family that live in Vancouver. 3 months in, she's like, we're going to go to Vancouver. You're going to meet my mom and my stepdad. Perfect. And they say to me, we're going to go for dinner and you can choose any place in Vancouver you want. Where do you want to go? And I'm like, well, fucking the last time I was there, I was at the old spaghetti factory, changed my life. Love ravioli. And like, I was like, take me to the old spaghetti factory. Could have went to West. I could have went to any number of like fancy restaurants, the fucking revolving one downtown. No, I needed to go to the old spaghetti factory.
That's funny, man.
And I wasted a free meal of any restaurant. I could have been like a steakhouse. I could have even said the Keg. But I said, no, take me to the old spaghetti factory. And it was like, nobody really finished their meal. And I remember at the end of it, I'm like, that wasn't as good as I remember, which is actually like kind of a funny thing.
Well, because you were 9.
Yeah, I was 9.
Of course it wasn't as good as when you were 9.
Yeah. Here's a thought. And I asked my wife today, getting ready for this episode, I said, what's the best thing we've ever eaten? And so I'm going to ask you both, what is the best meal you've ever had?
I mean, can you actually remember that? I don't know.
I think I thought a lot about it.
Was it your ravioli?
No, it wasn't my ravioli. I did have really good ravioli on Half Moon Bay in California once when I was a kid, but that isn't the answer. I am a person that will have something really good. And I think the trick to this for people that can do this is great. And sometimes the memory is better than
100%.
Than when you revisit it. And I know this because for my honeymoon, my wife and I drove down the coast. We ate at all these like kind of cool restaurants. And she had this, I think it was like a veggie burger someplace off, like right on the coast. And she's like, that was the best veggie burger I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And probably like, I don't know, 6 years later, we did the same trip, except June is born, like June is 1. My 2 friends come with me and we go back and Jody gets the exact same burger. And she's like, it's not as good. I don't know why I thought it was so good. And it's like, I think there's something to be said about someone that can have a really good meal and then like hold on to that and not revisit it, where like I will fully revisit it. So I think Taco Fino to me, when I had the fish taco for the first time, I was like, oh fuck, this is so good. But now I go to Taco Fino so much that it's like it can't be considered special. But I think maybe one of the best things I've ever had is their crispy chicken burrito. Anyway,
I used to have a rule. When I was younger. If I went to a restaurant and it was amazing, I would never return. Never. Like I would never return because like that first time was always the best. And as I'd had experiences where I'd go back and it wasn't the same thing. So yeah, one of the restaurants was this one that was on the White Rock Drive called Cielo's. It was amazing, man. The same thing, chorizo mussels, amazing. Like the broth was just nuts. They had lobster tortellini. It's fucking amazing. It's served on, so it had like what do you call those? The little flame underneath. It's got a name. I can't remember it. But anyway, so it's like served in a little copper pot with like the flame underneath. So the cheese is all like super melty. Anyways, I went there once long time ago, never went back. And then it was probably like 8 years later. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go back. And I went back and it was still amazing. And then I just continued to go. But yeah, that used to be my rule. If the food was amazing, I would never return.
That is a great rule. So I think like
I don't do that anymore, but like you reminded me of that because I actually completely forgot that I used to do that.
When I first started coming to Vancouver and I'd eat the food, I was like, holy shit, this is so good. And now I just eat that food all the time, and that food isn't special to me anymore. It's just like it's like the food that I used to Instagram is just like into my weekly or bi-weekly routine now. And there's like kind of a bit of sadness because it's like,
well, now you got to chase the 600 horsepower, man.
Yeah.
You've been eating the 400 horsepower for too long now.
I'm gonna fucking put my friend Alex from Rare Spec on blast. You guys can defend him if you like, as he will go to different places in the world and try the sushi everywhere he goes.
What? Why?
My
Yes.
boy went to Italy, was in Florence, Italy, and was like dragged his now wife across Florence so they could go have sushi because he needed to try sushi in Italy. The fucking country, Olive Garden is loosely based on they've made a living out of it, you know? Like, and he's like, no, I need to go get sushi in Italy.
Dude, that out of all the Italian food, like just even remove pasta from the entire
Oh yeah.
library. You got the sandwiches, you got like, all the antipasto, you got like the seafood, literally anything. But
yeah,
sushi. Anyways, yeah, Kevin.
Anyway.
I was just gonna give a Kevin response here.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna be like, well, I don't know. Maybe if you're like your one thing, if he was on here and his one thing was sushi, so now he wants to try the sushi everywhere. I can maybe get it, but yeah, like I mean, there's a reason that McDonald's in every country, bro.
Oh, I had McDonald's.
I mean, it seems like that's a more viable thing to try in all countries. You know what
McDonald's?
I mean? Yeah, just try McDonald's in every country because they're actually different. You know what I mean? And like,
kind of. I had to have McDonald's in Switzerland because it was like the only thing we could afford. Because Switzerland was so expensive, and it still came to $40 bucks. Yeah, it was a $42 meal. Like, it was wild. Have you ever eaten anything that's changed your life? Like, I don't mean the full trajectory of your life.
No.
Like you now are Ratatouille, the Pixar movie, and you're cooking. I mean,
I haven't mentioned on here, but I'm a huge sweet freak. I literally eat fucking sweets all the time, and desserts are like, I just love desserts and all that shit. It's funny when you said like, what's this one food that you remember that was like super good? So do you remember Bread Garden? Like, obviously Bread Garden still exists, but it's like totally just like a shithole now.
It was when my brother came to Vancouver before I was old enough to come to Vancouver. He would come back and tell me about Bread Garden. Yeah, he came here once to see Puff Daddy and the family on the No Way Out tour. And then he came back. He's like, "Oh, you got to try Bread Garden." And like when I came, it was not a thing. Anyway, go. Yeah,
so Bread Garden back in the day when it first came out was actually like pretty dope. It was like, the food was fresh, and they had those muffins that now they sell the muffins in gas station in a plastic thing and just completely soggy. But before, they were like a delicious blueberry muffin with like the crumbly like brown sugar and like granola and shit on top. They were just so good, and you get them in the morning. And also, so they had this cake. It was like a chocolate mousse cheesecake or something. I don't know, some sort of like multi-layered cake, but it was so fucking good. And I remember I would go there and I would get it, and then it would always like be out at certain time because they would just make one or two of them and then sell them out. But it was like, I think it had a cheesecake layer, a chocolate mousse layer, and some other thing on top. And man, in my teens, that was my go-to. I would be like, I'm going to Bread Garden to like enjoy this piece of cake by myself. That was it was so dope.
Would you say that changed your life?
I think it did, man, because like I just used to enjoy it so much, and like I would always kind of just go get it by myself. And it was just like I would go and like eat this cake and just like be in absolute bliss for like 5 to 10 minutes or whatever. And it was like always a thing because like you'd go and be like, oh, do they have it? Do they have any left? And like, occasionally like, I'd have friends that would work at Bread Garden or like a cute girl or something, and you'd like want to go see her. And it was like an experience. And I was a teenager, man. It was like, I just started driving and stuff. So like, and Bread Garden back then was open 24/7. So like, it was a thing. We would all go out, at like 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning, drive around and like stop at Bread Garden, get coffee. And occasionally they would have this cake this cake or whatever the hell it was. Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
That was like when I was young. Yeah.
Kevin, I'm going to say my piece and I'm going to segue it into a thing. But before I do that, have you ever eaten anything that's changed your life? That's a real tough question that I put on you because like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if I have. Maybe like tuna tatake, like goo or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I feel like I was like pretty like not into fish.
Yeah.
Like I don't really like fishy tasting fish. And I'm really weird. Like I'm super weird about food. Like
Kevin doesn't like mayo.
Kevin
Kevin doesn't like
ketchup.
mayonnaise,
Doesn't like
ranch.
Hot liquids is a thing.
doesn't like soup.
Yeah, I don't really like the broth
Unless-
of soup.
Yeah. Kevin's a wild experience on his own when it comes to food.
I don't know. Like that's the other thing. It's like the rawer the egg, the more likely I will be to eat it.
Oh yeah.
Like the raw, I want to eat my steak raw as well, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we never said how we like our steaks.
So then
Medium rare or rare. Anywhere between rare and medium rare. But when I ate
fucking
steak,
rare is like they will give it to me. And when I'm making it at home, then I can make it very rare.
but I don't eat steak anymore, and it is one of the things that I think that like I would say there's no good substitution for steak. And actually, sorry, Gerard, to go to your point where it's like you eat something and it's like then you eat it again later. I did that with a crispy chicken burrito from Tacofino. I ate it after I gave up. After I gave up meat because they accidentally gave me one, and I had been a vegetarian for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to walk back there. I need to eat lunch. If I do, they're going to throw it in the garbage, and that's a waste. So I'll eat it. Yeah. And I wish that I didn't, because the memory now that I have of it isn't the same as like it was something that I had always longed for. But then when I ate it after I had given it up, I was like, oh, I guess I'll be okay a bit. So anyway.
I feel like the memory is always better than the thing, you know?
The memory
even like the car. It's like, the car wasn't that great. It was the times you had in that car.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
So here's
sorry, what I was gonna say was I didn't really like fish because like fishy things. But then I had like the tuna tatake goo, and I was like, yo, this just like melts in your mouth and it's so good.
Yeah.
And then I'd have like whatever, like tuna nigiri and like salmon nigiri, and like it started opening up my world a bit more. And like I feel that like going to goo with Gerard kind of opened up my culinary views and allowed me to like start to taste things again that I had written off as being like, I don't like that, you know? Like, there's a lot of things now where I'm just like, well, I'm just going to try it again. And I'm like, oh, this isn't even that bad. Or this is actually really good. I really like this.
Yeah.
So maybe
that's good.
Maybe if food didn't change your life, maybe Gerard changed your life.
Maybe it was the Gerards we met along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Gerards.
We've had a lot of times at Goo, for sure. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
I was probably involved in a lot of them, for sure.
I didn't like donuts. Like, I was like fine with them. They just seemed like,
what?
Well, no, like, how can you have the most amount of calories? You know, kind of like whatever. Until I had Cartums.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Cartums. Fuck, you like the cake donuts from there. Gerard.
Good. I mean,
Gerard will run up and down about how he doesn't like these donuts. I really like them. I had them when I started visiting Vancouver, and then I moved here, and I still think they're my favorite. And Gerard will always ask me to bring them out to the shop.
I just love donuts, but the cake donuts are pretty good. Yeah.
I think that's a good segue. So that changed my mind about donuts, where I was like, oh, fuck, this is great. And then there's obviously, if anyone watches Netflix, Vancouver has Lee's Donuts.
Lee's the best, 100%.
Lee's has started making sweaters, I imagine.
They make all types of clothing.
To compete with
Duffins.
The Car Classic, which is like, I think only the car guys of Vancouver would get it, is Duffin Donuts.
Yeah, Duffins is literally the OG. It's literally the OG.
There's a SerialNine donut.
Yeah, there is a SerialNine donut at Duffins. I mean, if you could actually say that food changed my life too, because when I came here in 1986 for Expo to visit with my uncle, so we wake up in the morning and he'd take me around to get donuts, which I guess was a weird thing for an uncle to do, but it was amazing. So he'd take me to two places. But the place I remember was now Duffins. It was in a different spot or whatever, but I didn't even know that was like a donut shop back then. But I remember having these amazing donuts with my uncle in BC in the sunshine in the summertime. and it was just so far from what I had known. I was literally from a town of 2,000 people in North Manitoba, and here I am in the city, 8 a.m. getting this hustling, bustling donut place and getting these donuts. And it's just so rad that like you can literally go to the same exact place now. And I took, my son there to eat Duffins, and my wife loves Duffins, and the fried chicken at Duffins is, by the way, fucking amazing.
Yeah, I feel like you got to properly explain Duffins to anyone that's not
Duffins
from
is let Kevin explain Duffins.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've explained Duffins, but yeah,
it's like
Duffins is like it is like a weird anomaly. It's gone through some changes lately. It feels like.
Yeah, it sucks that it's not 24/7 anymore, but that whole COVID fucked that all up. Right?
Yeah, so basically, Duffins was this 24/7 donut shop, but then you could also get like Vietnamese subs or like pupusas or like fucking tamales, like
fried chicken,
bubble tea. They used to have soft serve ice cream. Yeah, you could get breakfast at any time, like
and
eggs,
not only that,
bacon, and pancakes.
Most of it was pretty good.
Yeah, how do you do all and do
everything was made in house? The chicken was butchered in house.
So basically, like you go by this place at 9 a.m. and it's super busy. You go by this place at 6 p.m. It's super busy. You go by this place at 9 p.m. It's maybe a little bit less busy.
You go to by 2 a.m.
2 a.m. and it's fucking packed.
Yeah.
So
because it's the only place open. And
so here's the thing. I remember driving by when I first moved here and like laughing. I'm like, look at that place. They do all these things. Like, how could that be good? And then Jody looked it up and she's like, they actually have a really high rating. Apparently it's really good. And then like I went and I tried it. I was like, that's pretty good. But one of the things that I think I appreciate about Duffins, and also maybe is a bit saddening, is I've talked to other car people and the car scene. And I think Duffins for car guys in Vancouver, maybe it's just drifters. I don't know. It holds like a special place in their heart where they would like people would meet up there at 2 a.m. And I've heard stories of like the younger guys being there when like Kevin and Gerard were there, and like it was like being around them and like that era of like young dudes coming up, and then you have like the Scremmins and the Gerards and the Kevins that are at this place, and everybody's there, and it's like the people that you aspire to be like that are influencing you are there, and like you're like kind of following a little bit in their footsteps, and I think that's really nice. Like I think that is my favorite part about Duffins. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we used to live by there too, so we would spend a lot of time there.
I remember like Gerard and I like doing fiberglass till we like left the garage to go to Duffins at like 3 a.m. We're just, like,
for sure.
Covered in fiberglass dust, like zombies in the corner. Like Mark comes in and is like, "Hey guys, what's up?" Like,
but also the guy who runs Duffins is a drifter, so there's that. Mark Andre has S14 700 horsepower 2JZ S14
with an S15 front.
With an S15 front and all those super advan wheels. He has like 10 of them or something in the raddest sizes. But that was kind of part of it.
So I like that part, I think, most of all of Duffin. It's like, and I've been there and like hung out with like car dudes at like 1 a.m, which I'm sure isn't the same, but that is the thing that I like the most about Duffin. It seems like a universal thing. Like, almost there's a lot of car dudes that buy the apparel from Duffins and wear it. And that makes the most sense. Like if someone wears it, I almost assume they're a car person. It's like,
us do too. But honestly, it's like the amount of comments you get wearing the Duffins stuff. It's like a lot.
It's like, it's weird because it's like a cult classic stylish item. Like, you definitely like if you're wearing like a Duffin sweater, it's like you're fucking cool.
Yeah, I love it.
That sweater's cool.
But to me, I could never own one because it's almost like the Thrasher. I'm not a skate. Like I wasn't around during that time. No. Like I don't. To me, it's like it's
like you'd be pretending.
Reserved. Yeah, I'd be pretending. Like, oh yeah, I get it. No, I thought I love it. I think it's great. Maybe if Cartems makes a sweater. No. I'm joking.
It's funny that you call it Cartems. Like it's
Cartems. I don't know, man.
Cardamons.
Cardamons, their donuts changed my life.
Yeah.
I think just eating food in Vancouver in general. I was just like, there was a point when I was very fortunate to work with people that cared a lot about food, and they made sure to take me to like a lot of really good food places.
Yeah.
I like the affordable like food places, and when you had it, they're like, holy shit, this is amazing.
I do love those
I love-
experiences, man. Like that's the thing is like when you get one of those experiences, or even when you feel like, even when you're like, this wasn't a great deal, you're like, hey man, this is a bit expensive, and then you get it and it's so fucking good, and you're like, I paid double for this because it's that good.
Yeah.
It's just such a good, satisfying experience. But I feel like those are that's like 20% of my eating experiences, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
And then, like you said,
it.
you find a place you like and you just fucking go there once a week until you hate it.
I don't hate it. I
You know
still
what's
eat
weird?
at Taco Fino every 2 weeks. I still eat Taco Fino. I love it. I couldn't live without it. But it's like, it's a funny thing. Like I would never be like, oh, it's the best meal I've ever had.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I would probably say like maybe the first time I had it, I'm the type of person that when I had it, like it put me in a different direction where it's like, I need that in my life all the time. It was probably part of the factor that made me move to Vancouver, where I was like, the food's so good here, even though the poutine is
But
shit.
is it? Because it's an immature.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know.
So yeah, one of the things I was going to say that one of the interesting thing recently is kind of what you mentioned there. It's like this food that you used to like kind of really pine over and like really be like, oh, I can't wait to fucking eat this, and I just want to go eat this shit. And then now you're just kind of like, whatever. So 2019, I went to Hawaii. It was rad. I was on the north. I was in Kauai and I discovered this place called G's Juice Shop. Amazing place. And I mean, obviously I've had in Hawaii, you eat smoothie bowls or like a acai bowl, whatever. Right. So I had some on, when I was in Waikiki, and then we had one in the North Shore. It was like pretty good. But then when I went to Kauai, I met the dude, G's Juice Shop. And I would just get this amazing acai bowl. So like, obviously I got like hooked on these acai bowls in Kauai. So I come back to like, BC, and I'm like fucking looking for these smoothie bowls like some sort of junkie. And lo and behold, the place
Your final bout.
Yeah, oh God, that's a story. that was a good one. So anyways, I'm like, like full like acai bowl junkie at this point. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's healthy, it's super good, it's got, all this shit, whatever. So like, lo and behold, there's a place in South Surrey called Islands Cafe. Islands is in Hawaii. And then they make these amazing smoothie bowls. It was totally just like 90% of what I had, in Kauai. I'm like, this is amazing. I would like ride my motorcycle there because back then I didn't live in South Surrey. So I'd like ride my motorcycle there 8, 9 a.m. on like a Sunday to like go get this smoothie bowl. And it was so amazing. And I mean, honestly, now I just had one the other day, man. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm just fucking over this or like they don't make it as good or what, but like I just like could give a fuck about it. It wasn't anything. So yeah, I feel like a bit sad about it because like it's sort of weird. Like I used to really enjoy it, but now it's like I don't think I'd even ever order another one, which is really kind of
I'm
weird.
going to Kauai in November, so I will go to G's Juice Shop and try this. But yeah, I think I've lately been seeing memes about like when you
gotta go to Porky's.
When you find a comfort food and you eat it, like the food that brings you a lot of joy, and you eat it until it brings you no joy.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's like that meme
weird.
that I like posted recently where it's just like, oh, it's a great hobby you had. It'd be like a shame if you were to try and monetize that and make it all about your life at the exact same time. Like,
yeah,
you suck all joy out of it.
Yeah, it's called G's Juice Bar.
Yeah, man, it's got 5 stars.
It's super
they're
good.
all
man.
from Gerard. I'll go, and then I'll take a photo and send it to you.
Hey, man, they have vegan options and they're vegetarian friendly. So
I hope they
get the
better
one
be.
with the blueberries. Like I'll send you the one right now.
Okay. Well, how about we talk about it when I go in closer to November? You will have forgotten that you've told me this, and then you'll tell me when I'm there. I know this. While I'm there, you'll be telling me. Okay. or you won't. I don't know.
Porky's Kawaii is also really good, but it is not.
Sounds porky.
No, but like
sounds
you
like
just
it's got-
even if you just get the grilled cheese, Porky's Kawaii, the grilled cheese is like
Is it dairy
All right.
cheese?
so
That's
shit.
fine. I'll dabble with it.
I will sit on the throne for 4 hours to eat this grilled
Yeah.
cheese just because you told me to.
Better
Gerard.
be good, Gerard. Hey, I like this question because it ties back to us being a car podcast. And Kevin has answered it before, but
Oh, we're moving on. We got another question.
no, it's still about food.
Oh, okay.
It's
Sorry.
just-
Sorry.
What's the
I thought you were
best
about to
food that
read
you've
a
had?
question.
No. Still on food. Best food that you've had at a car event. We've asked this before, but we could revisit it because maybe people missed it. And now we're talking about food.
Oh yeah, I think we know this one.
I know. I feel like I know Kevin's answer. Kevin's thinking about it, which makes me think maybe I don't know it.
Well, now I'm trying to like ponder.
Irwindale, king of tacos. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Taco
called King
King.
of Tacos.
It's
Taco
called,
King.
yeah, I think it's
Taco
called King
King.
Taco. But
King
yeah.
Taco. That's
King
what it is.
taco. Yeah.
Either,
All right.
but yeah, I was just trying to like, trying to think if like I would call like any of those other places like, a trip somewhere where you ate along the way to of a drift event or car thing.
Yeah, do that.
Like-
Anything you've eaten on a car trip or
That taco truck that we just pulled over on the way to that car meet in LA, and we just like
Yeah, that
randomly
was
ate
really
there.
good.
That was super good. That like Italian restaurant we went to in Chicago.
Oh, that was
like,
super good.
Super good.
I mean, honestly, even the pizza place in Chicago that we go to that like nobody
Yeah.
else like seems to think is good or knows about or anything.
Yeah, that was also quite
That
good.
place is super good.
But yeah, out of all of the, I'd say
Wasn't the
all-
food
all
at
the-
Final Bout? Wasn't the food at Final Bout?
I didn't have any of
decent?
the food at Final Bout. They had a bunch of taco trucks, but that was like
No, I mean we went to that
Yeah,
Mexican
taco
place.
truck in Wisconsin.
Oh,
Went to the Mexican
that
place.
Mexican
It
restaurant.
was
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys.
And then
have
there's that breakfast place there too that has all the pies.
Oh, Perkins.
Isn't that a chain though? anyways?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's just we just don't
It's
know.
like Neighbors, restaurant. Or
Fucking
whatever.
neighbors, yeah.
I'd say like actually at the track though, Villains is pretty good. Like
I've never been there, but yeah, I mean, you said it's
Yeah,
really
you were
good.
saying that's good. Yeah.
I mean, it's like good, like greasy ass track food.
Right.
It's no Michelin star.
No, do you remember Grange? Grange had those gourmet burgers.
Oh.
I don't remember eating at Grange at all.
We ate there, man.
I don't remember.
Or I mean,
eating
I
at all.
ate there. I remember eating there, and I was like, because I got all stoked because they had like,
Sounds on
this
point.
burger. It was like $9 or some shit. And I was like, yo, it sounds amazing. I'm eating this burger, and I had to wait for it and stuff. But yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I don't remember eating at Grange or them even having food. But
Okay. I thought about this
Ah.
before I asked the question because I wanted to have an answer. In Regina, we used to do car meets. So we would do two big ones. There was Defrost and
Mhm.
Fallout.
Yeah.
One was in spring and one was in fall. Very clever. And then occasionally we would do like a kind of like a pop-up car meet.
Mhm.
But we had partnered with a food truck, and the food truck was called Bon Burger.
Bon, as in BON or
yeah, like French for good.
good.
Come
Oh,
on,
well,
Frenchie.
okay,
Bon
yeah. Bon.
Burger.
Yes.
If I say it with an accent, Gerard will get it.
Yeah.
And
Can I just say this really quickly? I thought it was really fun how like you said like, I get the acai bowl, and then like 2 seconds later you're like, like the acai. And like it was like two words apart, and you said one with like a harsh accent and the other with like actually no accent. It was really
Yeah.
fun.
it's like me reading an Instagram username.
Yeah.
You pleb
Exactly.
or weak fest.
I mean, acai is kind of the same, but yeah, I was like,
All right.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Acai.
matter. You've already made the mistake.
Okay, anyways.
Anyway, we had a partnership with a food truck called Bon Burger, and their burgers were gourmet burgers. They were unreal. And I would say to this day, that's the best food that I've had at any car event.
Sounds
The
good.
nice thing is that they changed ownership, and I can never have, and I don't eat meat anymore, but even if I wanted to, I can never have that experience again. So I can never be let down. But we gave them, they used to have like exclusive rights to all of our car meets. So there'd be like 400 to 500 people in a parking lot trying to get food from
That sounds crazy.
this food truck. But they were amazing and I loved it. They were great. And that's the best food that I've ever had at a car event. It's in Regina, Saskatchewan. So the best poutine I've ever had is from Regina, Saskatchewan. And the best food I've ever had at a car event is in Regina, Saskatchewan. Good job, Regina.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess that poutine associated with DUI was always pretty good. And then there's that one restaurant we always go to at DUI, the one that's like has the outdoor seating. That place is actually quite good.
The breakfast place?
No.
I mean, I find it okay.
Oh, that other place. I remember. I was drunk. I wanted Gerard to get drunk with me. And he was like, we weren't like fully friends yet. And I was like, Gerard's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, we're going to get fucked up.
Yeah.
So I was with the Sask boys. I remember that.
I think I was trying to get there with you.
Yeah. It was like, hey, we're going to get like fucked up and forget that we're adults. And Gerard's like, what are you saying right now? I'm fully adult all the time, except for when I'm not.
That's because Catherine was there.
I was also
Catherine
my
was
wife
there. That
and
is
stuff, and like I don't know.
I've only seen Gerard
Tried to be
fucking
professional.
like goofy once, like
What
not
is
like
that?
regular Gerard goofy, but I mean like off the
How's
the
that?
fun
Yeah.
sauce, which is code for alcohol. That was when you were at Final Bout and you guys had to wait to pack up your trailer.
Oh,
yeah.
Kevin and Gerard went to that Mexican restaurant, drank margaritas, and came back and kept trying to like photobomb all the sentimental like photos that were happening. And then I actually had to stop and be like, hey, can you like not be in this one? And you're like, yeah, okay.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So food. I was gonna say, like one thing I'll say is like I really love ethnic food, and I really love just like authentic ethnic food. So it's like if you probably if I were to travel the world and just like go and eat at people's like houses or like the local places, I think that would just be the most amazing thing. Because a lot of times like these fucking restaurants, they end up just being like these pretentious, expensive, shitty places that you have to reserve 2 weeks in advance. And it's like, they just are a huge letdown. So just keep it real. The food is like OG and like good and fresh. It's good enough.
I now see what the point of this whole food podcast was. Is that so that our listeners worldwide would invite Gerard over to their place and he could get a free meal.
Yeah, that sounds sick. Sponsored by everybody.
I just, I like rather just go into a stranger's house and they make food for me and then I leave after.
I mean, it's just like you just eat what they eat. You know what I mean? Like whatever's good in that part of the country.
If you could travel anywhere to eat food, where would you go to eat?
Dude, Mexico City.
Ooh,
Mexico City looks. I want to go there. My wife's like, I don't know. It's kind of not safe. I'm like, I don't really care. I want to go to Mexico
She will
City.
get kidnapped. Gerard will be okay.
I mean, her dad went there recently and said it was not bad. And I talked to some people that like kind of know a little bit, or like I talked to some dudes that were like from there, and they're like, yeah, like the new, I guess it's a prime minister or something. He's like, yeah, cleaned it up a lot, and it's like a lot safer and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. I probably won't bring my kids, I guess, but like, I don't know.
We used to send people there for work, so I think it's like okay.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, but yeah, she's just wearing like a little blonde chick. She's like, probably
she'll get kidnapped
on like the black market.
You're fine.
Yeah,
Catherine's getting kidnapped for sure.
Yeah,
like if I was,
just carry her around on your shoulders, it'll be fine.
Yeah, just put like one of those kid tethers on her, and then you just hold on to that.
But also, obviously,
an Apple tag, and then where in Italy? Where would you go? Would you?
I don't know, man.
All of Italy?
Yeah.
Honestly, and Gerard's
Turkey,
going to Milan.
Turkey all looks
for the coffee.
Good. I literally just watch food shows. Like that's probably one of my most watched things on TV, on YouTube.
Here's what I know about Gerard. He's going to Milan for haute couture fashion.
Okay. I'm down with that.
I don't know. I don't actually know if you're doing that. Whatever. Kevin, if you could travel anywhere to eat food, where are you going?
I've never even thought the thought.
And
Well, that's the
Japan.
point of the food episode.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, like I'd like to go, to like, I don't know, Mexico, or like Japan would be cool. I have no interest in going to the Nordic countries for food.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
None of that food seems to really interest me too much.
Which is interesting because I think on an earlier episode where I said if you could have like a property
Yeah.
anywhere, you were like, you'd live in the Nordic country, but not interested in the food. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you'd live somewhere where you
There's a lot of fish
for food.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, pickled fish. Not for me.
Yeah, not for you. Hey?
It's going to be a no on that one.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
down with it.
What about you,
Obviously,
Ryan?
I'm sure Spain probably has really good food.
The tapas in Spain is apparently next level.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Where would I go? So I've been to Italy. I haven't been to Mexico City, but obviously not obviously, that's a dumb thing to say. I've been to Mexico and done like food tours in Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've told you that story where like the lady doing the food tour, I was with all my friends from work because we would go on trips with work. And it was like, does anyone have any dietary restrictions? And me and my Irish friend put up our hands and we're like, we're vegetarian. And the lady running the food tour looked me up and down from head to toe and was like, really? You? And I was like, yeah.
Nice.
And I'm sure I said this, and like the first stop we went, like they don't have any vegetarian options. So, and I was like, man, I fucking paid to come on this trip. I better like get my fill. And they're like, yeah, they have a thing you can have, and it was literally cabbage and hot sauce in a shell. And I don't know why I ate it. Like
cabbage
all the
and
other
hot sauce.
Yeah, it was like because it was like the thing that they actually put in it that was good was the meat. And so I ate this thing and I was like, fuck, what am I doing on this tour? Why did I spend money? Every other stop was great. I had like great tacos. It was amazing. They had vegetarian options, just not this like, it was a food cart on some Mexican street. And they just put hot sauce on cabbage for me and I ate it. And it was such a waste because there was like better tacos to be had later on in the tour. Anyway, places to go to eat food. I mean, like realistically, the place that I want to travel the most to, here's the caveat, I want to do it with my car friends and not my family. I'm a shithead. Is I want to go to Japan and I want to like do that.
I can't wait to go to the tamago places in Japan or the okonomiyaki places. Like, I just want to eat all that shit, dude.
I feel like it would be a ton of seafood, wouldn't it?
Sure.
No.
I'm down with that.
Which is like fine because like I do. So realistically, I still eat seafood. It's not fun telling people you're like sometimes pescatarian.
I'm a vegetarian that eats fish, bro.
That's pescatarian.
Pescatarian, but then it's like, oh, that sounds really religious.
It does sound religious.
It does. So I would go do that. I think it'd be cool to like try ramen there. Do any of us have affinity for ramen?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like ramen.
Me too. I just didn't want to.
We have a good place here, but like you don't eat meat, so.
Which one is? Oh, Revengers.
Revengers, yeah.
Ramengers, yeah.
Ramengers.
Ramengers.
Cartons.
Listen, team.
Alteza.
I got my own ramen places I go to. It's fine. I just don't tell anyone about food because I don't think they'd take me seriously because I don't eat meat. Like I'm never gonna go tell Gerard about food because
why? I mean,
because you're
I
don't
need to eat meat. It just happens that all the stuff I like has meat in it.
Well, it just feels like everyone's so passionate about it, and like I don't know. That's the whole reason why I was hesitant to do this episode. I feel very strongly about food. But I feel like everyone does. If everybody feels like it's their own thing. I mean, they all have opinions that can be right, and that's great. But I don't know. I mostly, when we talk about food, let other people. I'm a real Carrie Underwood, and I I let everyone else take the wheel because it's like I care about food, but I have a lot of restrictions. And I think Kevin's the one that makes the most jokes. It's like, what's for lunch today, Ryan? And I say, whatever you want. And then he says, we're going to Five Guys.
Which is really good, by the way.
That's fine.
I forgot to mention dim sum. Dim sum is like, I don't go as much anymore because like, my wife doesn't, she's not really into it, but I mean, dim sum is like the bomb, man. And it's like meeting up with all my homies on Sunday to go eat dim sum and just like, it's the fucking best, dude. I miss it so much.
Where would you go for dim sum?
Swan Garden. Or I always fuck up the name. It's like Golden Swan or Swan Garden. I'm pretty sure it's called Swan Garden. But I mean, we have a couple places. There's a place in New West that we always go to. It's a little tiny place, but it's super good. A place in Langley. It's like not bad. Actually, the place across the street from our shop is pretty good. I usually just go there by myself or like with Dominic sometimes. But it's expensive though. But I think maybe all dim sum's really expensive now. Lee Yun in Surrey, I used to go there with Mikey all the time. It was really good. It's like a total shithole, but like I swear all the best dim sum places are total shitholes. Or Floda, which is like on top in like it's actually by Kevin's house. It's like in Chinatown at the top of one of the buildings. It's like a huge place, but it's pretty good. But yeah, love dim sum. Actually, back in the day, I wanted to have dim sum as like my, when you have like the wedding and you get like, there's like the wedding ceremony and then you have the reception way later. I wanted to have it so like we would serve dim sum between that time. Like, you know what I mean? You'd have the wedding ceremony and then dim sum and then have the like reception later. But obviously like that didn't happen. So
what food did you serve at your wedding?
We had like, whatever food they made there. It was actually, the food was really good at my wedding. It was at what's that place called now? It's a golf course, and it's
where did you get married?
In South Surrey.
Okay.
Why can't I think of it? It's a whole like area, not Grandview. I don't know.
That's a highway. That's a highway.
No. Grandview Corners is like a place in South Surrey.
Okay.
But it's like, what the fuck? Why can't I think of it now?
Yeah, Morgan Creek is what Kevin said, and where June
it?
Yeah, and where June went to like play at that park.
Yeah, Morgan Creek. It's like kind of like a bougie area of like South Surrey.
And so that's where you got married. Kevin, what kind of food did you serve at your wedding? Your hype
chicken and waffles.
That'd be
waffles.
I don't know. I feel like
why don't you get married so we can have a fucking cool party, man?
Right? Yeah, I thought you were like, yo, man, like as soon as I get back from this trip, we're gonna have a big party because I didn't really get to have a party for my wedding.
Yeah.
When are you gonna have a party? You already had the wedding.
Chicken and waffles. Okay, good.
I don't know. I feel like picking food for your wedding is a little bit difficult because like
you don't really get that kind of choice. Like usually it's like
I
a
feel
venue.
Like you gotta like serve a bunch of different people. Like they're gonna choose between like chicken or fish or something. And like
look, you can do whatever you want.
Both gonna be
it depends how deep your pockets are.
Yeah.
Apparently the food was really good at my wedding. I don't remember.
I wasn't invited, so I would know.
If I had a time machine, number one thing I'd do is I'd go back in time and invite Kevin and Gerard to my wedding. Both of you would be fucking. Well, no, Gerard, because we're friends. Not because I
the food was good.
Food was good.
Yeah, so then I can tell right now that Ryan's food was amazing.
Yeah, that's what not that these two people that I've developed like a pretty close friendship with could be at my wedding. No, I just want Gerard to. Of course you would fucking think that.
No, because you're talking about food.
It's like your wildest dream is about to come true. I'm gonna shred an aristo at a drift event. It's like, that's not my wildest dream. My wildest dream is not watching Gerard drive another aristo at a drift event. No, because we're good friends.
Okay, yes.
And then but because of time travel, Kevin and Gerard of that era would be very confused as to why they were invited to a wedding by this guy that like runs a car blog.
Was it your wedding a Star Wars wedding?
I got married on May 4th, but I got married at Highcroft Manor in Vancouver. So I didn't live here, but we all came to Vancouver, and we went to Highcroft, which is like this old timey mansion on the Crescent, which is like the Crescent is like
McRae.
Is that what it? I don't know. It's just like where all the old money used to live in Vancouver.
Looks nice there.
Yeah, that's all right. Anyway, that's where I got married.
It's all right.
Probably
crazy.
haunted. Feel like we've learned a lot about me this episode.
That's good.
Good.
No, I'm gonna cut it all out. All right. So places we would travel. Talked about food that we've had at car events, which I think is very important because we're a food car.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a pretty good food episode. I mean,
We are a food car podcast.
Let's lastly, I don't know if whatever, like savory or sweet. You guys are like
savory all day.
Really?
Savory all day.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'd rather finish my dinner and then eat that same dinner again than have dessert most times.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But honestly, now I'm starting to get like you. Like I'll eat something, I'll eat my lunch and then be like, I really wish I had like a tiny little piece of chocolate or something, you know?
Yeah, I do that occasionally.
Yeah, I'm totally just like the purpose of dinner is to get to dessert. Like literally all the time. I'm just like, okay, I've eaten my dinner. Like, boom, where's the chocolate? Like, where's
I used to be really big on ice cream. Like I'd eat ice cream for dinner. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love milkshakes.
I'm like an ice cream snob. I generally
much.
just.
What's your favorite? Hey, so there's a guy that runs like a blog, and he's done like his favorite breweries in the Lower Mainland or whatever.
Mm.
And then he just did ice cream.
Oh.
What's your favorite ice cream spot?
Ice cream or gelato?
Oh,
Because they're not the fucking same. It's not the
good.
same.
That's the best way to start this question.
Yeah, it is. Ice cream.
Dealer's choice. Gelato.
If
I don't give a shit. Do gelato.
Gelato's Nuvola Gelateria in Burnaby. 100%. Giorgio's like the fucking bomb, and his creations.
Not the one downtown that wins all the awards.
Doro. Doro's pretty good too.
Is it Doro or am I thinking of Bella?
Bella? Fuck that place. Dude, that place. No. Yeah, Bella. Okay. Anybody that's trying to charge me $20 for gelato, like, get fucked. I don't give a shit how good it is. And I'm assuming
it doesn't matter.
I'm assuming you like Ernest ice cream.
Haha. Rain or shine.
Good. Ernest is pretty good.
Rain or shine ice cream is my pick.
Oh, where the hell is that?
There's two. There's one on West 4th and there's one on Canby. Ernest is fine. My family likes Ernest more than I do, and so we go there, but I like Rain or Shine. They make beer flavored ice cream, and that is a winning combination for me.
There was actually an ice cream place by my old place in Clayton that was not bad. I can't remember the name of it because I don't really give a shit to go out for ice cream. So
only gelato, hey?
Only gelato, yeah.
All right, okay, good. I think we got it. I was going to say, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to try Mister. I want to try that for a while, but I
Rooster?
Mister.
Oh, Mister.
Yeah, Mister
ice cream.
Yeah, it's like I think it's on Davie. It's supposed to be like pretty good.
There's that place downtown that has like the black cones.
Oh, that's a fucking gimmick.
Yeah, of course it's a gimmick.
Fuck that place. I ain't got time for that.
Everything's a gimmick, man.
No.
I mean, a black
quality never goes out of style.
You know what's a gimmick? And you know what's an ice cream gimmick? Gelato.
Yeah. You know what's a gimmick? A car podcast doing a whole episode about food.
Gelato is so much better than ice cream.
All right, Gerard, we get it.
Yeah, we get it. You're lactose intolerant. Cool.
Except gelato's also made with cream.
No, is it? I thought it was
You're talking about sorbetto and all that shit.
Sorbetto, you fucking.
So what the fuck's the difference between gelato anyway then, huh?
Yeah, what is the difference?
Different fat contents, different densities, different temperatures, different smoothness, all sorts of different shit. But it's more bang for your buck. Like it's more flavor. It's softer. It's like way better mouthfeel. Like it's less fatty.
This is more what I expected the food podcast to be.
Yeah.
Like talking about like different shit.
Hey,
Yeah, like Gerard being like,
what's-
it has better mouthfeel, okay?
yeah. Hey, what's your favorite brewery?
I couldn't tell you, man. I don't drink that much beer, so
God
you
damn.
and Kevin should definitely
I feel like I know Kevin's answer.
shout it
I
out.
know your answer. Unless it's like the new
Kevin.
one that you haven't been to yet.
Kevin and I talk about this all the time in our spare time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
go on, talk about it. So the people come to Vancouver, they know where the fuck to go, which breweries to hit.
I actually one of the
There's way too
listeners messaged me and he was like, "Hey, I want to try some craft beer. What do you recommend?" And I was like, "You ready for it?" And it was our Wyatt messaged and was like, "I want to know." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "This is what I drink. This is what Kevin drinks. This is like," and then he was like, I think it was like a little, he's like, "Oh shit, you really are like the beer guy." And I was like, "Yeah, man, like that's like, I care a lot about beer." My favorite breweries, and honestly, I think my favorite breweries are in like BC and probably within like an hour-ish drive. So I would say in no particular order, Twin Sails in Port Moody, Superflux in Vancouver.
Super
and back-
flux.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Superflux. It's fucking the bee's knees. And then Backcountry and Squamish. Those are my favorite breweries. Brass Neck is apparently the best. And it is good, pretty good beer. It's very good beer. It's just I don't buy it as much as I buy the other stuff. I believe Kevin's answer. Do you want me to guess yours, Kevin, or
Go
do you want to
straight
say
for it.
Parallel
Go for
49?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
then
in Kevin's neighborhood.
it's literally right there. Also Storm.
Oh,
Storm's super good. Storm's its
Storm
own
is-
crazy thing. So like that's why I
Storm
love it.
is the SerialNine of beer. Is what
Is it?
Storm is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Because it's a fucking crazy guy. No, I don't know. It's just like they're super into what they do. Their workspace is like a workspace. It's like
Storm Brewing?
artisanal as fuck.
It's like the
Like
longest running like craft brewery in Vancouver.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, it's just all about creating crazy flavors and beers.
It's good.
Where
and
is it?
It's crazy.
It's like Hastings and Commercial.
Yeah.
Do you know
It
the
used to be
owners by
like
any
you
chance?
couldn't. Oh, he's like
Yeah.
this. It's
He's like a
just
super eccentric old gay guy.
like steampunk shit. Yeah, like
Yeah, it looks pretty. Outside looks fucking nuts.
yeah. But it
Their
is.
artwork's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
About
They've
us.
only
So
started.
sketchy, but great beer.
They
Yeah, there's like no
only-
tasting room. Like you literally just go in, you're standing beside the vats, you have a plastic cup. You
Really?
like-
It's
yeah.
by donation. They
What?
only started just like canning their beer now.
Yeah,
can, like,
they've
buy
been
some
around
of it.
since like 85 and they just started canning beer like this year.
So how the fuck did they stay alive?
Because it wasn't really like, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It was just like a passion thing. It's like someone who just loves creating weird beers so much that's
Yeah.
all they did.
So
I do feel like one of the questions that I get from people when I meet them in person is about, because it's fairly obvious in some episodes that I drink beer
yeah,
while we do this. And sometimes I drink too much beer and get fucking half spun out.
yeah.
And so people do ask us about beer and they ask like, "Oh, what should I like?" And they're not sure. Like people are like, "What should I try?" I'm not like, I'm new to it or I'm not fully into it, but like I'm open to it. And then I always give my recommendations to them. And I always say, because like I know a ton of people hate IPAs, and I agree. I don't
That would be
like
me.
West Coast. I don't like West Coast IPAs. Kevin, are you better with West Coast IPAs?
I like IPAs. Yeah, I like
Just IPAs
double
all around.
IPAs, hazy IPAs,
Yeah.
West Coast IPAs.
Yeah. So
The
I don't
hoppier the better.
I don't drink West Coast IPAs. I like Northeastern IPAs and hazy IPAs, milkshake IPAs. No, and that's generally what I tell people is like those are the ones that you should drink. If you're like, I've had an IPA in the past and I didn't like it, I'd point people in that direction, or like the juice box sour type beer that Backcountry would make is my other.
Yeah, those are good.
Gerard, you like porters and stouts, don't you?
I mean, I don't really ever drink them anymore, though. I definitely used to like stouts and porters and stuff like that, but it was more of like I'm working on my car at night, like need to kind of, it's like cold outside and nobody's really around, so I'm drinking this like giant porter or like a stout or some shit like that. But I don't know. Now I like really like fruity, sour kind of beers and stuff now. So
Right.
yeah, I don't like really drink very much. So I just would drink one or a few of those or something like that.
All right. Good. I'm glad we got to talk about beer.
Okay, guys.
Well, we talked about
good
food.
episode.
Glad we had fun. We did the episode. I guess we'll see where it goes.
All right.
The chips fall where they may. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, you guys.
Peace out.
Thanks for listening to Serial Podcast 9.